Welcome to the Player Profiler NFL Draft coverage, the 2026 NFL Draft. All 257 picks are going to be talked about. They're going to be analyzed right here, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Stay tuned. It's all coming at you. We kick off the program with a half an hour before the first pick is in. We know what that pick is going to be, and we will acknowledge one Memphis Young. This program, all 257 picks will be dedicated to Memphis Young. He was with us not long ago. He was with us in Michigan at the big NFL draft extravaganza we had there, and he is very much missed. I know many of you really, he had the most regular show on the program. You knew when to tune in to see the Dynasty War Zone, and that was a habit that a lot of people had for many years. And it's a hole in our lineup that we can't fill. And we're gonna just do our best today to cover these picks as he would want us to. And we're gonna start by talking about the first pick is going to be one Fernando Mendoza. I think we know who that is and what that's all about. Everyone's talked about that, so we're going to be quickly starting our discussion about what happens if. There's going to be a lot of what happens if for the next 25 minutes. Cody, myself, Alex, and Maddie, they're all here, and we all submitted our mock draft contests to the Huddle Report. And mine's up on playerprofiler.com. So is Maddie's. Roster Watch. Be sure to check out Roster Watch. There you can find Alex's mock. You can find Cody's mock. The first round is what we're judged on at the Huddle Report. And last year, I should mention that I won the contest among this group. And we have a bet. And the loser will pay a price that is very dear and very embarrassing. And we'll talk about that later. We'll get into that. What the price to be paid. I really hope I don't have to suffer the consequences of having the worst draft, the worst mock draft. Cody, what are some key things that you want to talk about today that you're looking for, that you're excited to discuss?
Honestly, it's kind of starts, obviously we want to know how many fantasy guys are going to come out. That's like first and foremost is like, where are these guys going to land? Where can they help us in fantasy football? And can we potentially get a full first round of rookie picks out of this thing that actually matters? But I think for me, like NFL draft wise, it really comes down to what happens here with pick 2 and 3 and what direction do the Jets go first off with it's perceived to be edge. And then with the Cardinals, do the Cardinals trade out? Do they bend the knee to the owner and go Jeremiah Love? Do they do the thing and go Ty Simpson, the quarterback from Alabama? That, you could have told me 6 months ago that would happen. I would have believed you. I think that's kind of where it begins and where my head starts with this draft is at 2 and 3.
Jay Glazer is reporting that there's a big trade that's already been done. It's in the books. It just hasn't been announced yet. Jay Glazer is most closely associated with the New Orleans Saints. And that means a potential trade up to the one team we know wants to trade down is Arizona. And it's very interesting politically why Arizona is looking to trade down. Monty Ossenfort understands positional value. Maddie, Alex, Cody, they know this guy. He's a smart guy. He's one of the better GMs in the league. You wouldn't know it looking at the team's performance necessarily, but they did have some cursed quarterback play. So they've convinced me that he knows what he's doing, and he knows that the last player that they really want to draft in the top 10 among the top 10 highly graded prospects is Jeremiah Love, but the top equity holder, the boss of the bosses, wants him, and they for very good reason. They don't have a face of the franchise. There's no more Kyler Murray. Marvin Harrison has not yet launched. James Conner's dust. So they need a face of the franchise. They need to sell jerseys. They need to create some excitement. So I understand why Bidwell wants to bid up and secure Jeremiah Love, but I also understand why Ossenfort wants nothing to do with it. And so if you're Ossenfort, the only way out of this political pickle is to trade down. And now we hear the Saints want to move up. And so the early speculation is that trade partner is Arizona. Arizona then would get to trade down, and it would fix the glitch. It would solve all of Austin Fort's problems to trade out of this pick. Is that what you think is going to happen?
I do. I think that's what ends up happening is Arizona does move off of this pick for no other reason than the fact that just like, even if it's, pennies on the dollar, which might be what it looks like when the deal does come through, because honestly, it's this class. And when you think back a couple of years ago when Arizona was picking third and they traded down to 12 with Houston, that was the 12th pick. That was a 2024. So the following year's first and second. And then I believe it was like the 34th pick in that draft. So again, you're moving down 9 spots. You pick up the early second, and then you pick up next year's 1 and 2. I don't think it looks close to that if they move down from 3 to 8 in this class. And again, that was for an edge. That was up for Will Anderson at 103. And then Arizona ends up popping back up to get Paris Johnson, I think, at 106. In this class, I feel like you drop down to 8. You can still probably get Francis Maui-Noa, the offensive tackle from Miami, with that 8th overall spot. It also puts you in a spot where if Maui-Noa goes to the, let's say the Giants at 5, and you're sitting there at 8, and all of the blue chips that you had are off the board, the quarterback is there, and the quarterback still is an option there. And the one key thing I want to say about Austin Fort is, even though this team hasn't worked out, right, you've found that you have some cornerstone pieces on this team. Now, that might be in Michael Wilson, that might be in Trey McBride, right? And the Kyler Murray thing, I want to preface this because I've talked to Alex about this a couple of times. The Kyler Murray thing happened. The contract extension happened the year before Monty Ossenfort got there. So he technically still hasn't gotten like a quarterback in his regime that is really of any essence. I mean, they got
the Ossenfort apologists are quick to remind you of this.
No, but he literally hasn't drafted a quarterback of any stature at all. So it's usually as a GM you might get 2 guys. You for sure get 1, but you might get 2. And I think that there's thought out there that, like, me and Alex have been obviously on Monty Ossenfort. We've been big proponents of him, big fans of his process. He's a total dog, and he's getting like this weird, like, oh, he's on the hot seat, like he might get, and that I think comes mostly from Bidwell, the owner, because Bidwell is so, like, he seems so quick to kind of jump into these things and try to take them over, like this Jeremiah Love stuff that is being reported, that we're kind of understanding that he might be the guy that wants Jeremiah Love. Obviously, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but I don't know. I really do think they end up with Ty Simpson today. I think that's the biggest takeaway more than anything. That became like the favorite, is that, like, when you land, like, projecting obviously outside of, the number 1 pick, like, oh, Mendoza, what team's going to be connected to him? The Raiders. But the fact that, like, Arizona was always expected to trade into round 1 from, early in round 2 to get a Ty Simpson, and it ended up going to like -200, -300 to get Ty Simpson, was always wild to me. But it's the one thing. I think there's sleeper spots in Pittsburgh. I think that the Jets are potentially a sleeper spot. I think they're focused on 2027. But Arizona makes all the sense in the world. It just depends on really when. And then you also got to be paying attention, if you do trade down, what if the Rams try to get ahead of you and snipe you for Ty Simpson?
Well, that's not going to happen. I don't see it. The Rams want to win a championship. The last thing they need is a player that's not going to help them, because if Matthew Stafford goes down, they're not going to win a championship. It's not going to be in the range of outcomes. So why would you take an insurance policy when you're pushing all your chips into the middle of the table? It doesn't make any sense.
Because then you got Stetson Bennett and in week 13 and you're 10-2.
Okay, so
Stetson Bennett's not winning you a championship. Ty Simpson learning 12 weeks behind Matthew Stafford. Stafford goes down with a back injury. Simpson steps up. There's a much better chance that you can run the table or get close with Ty Simpson than that.
You're right. There is a scenario. There is a particular scenario. Matthew Stafford misses 4 games where having Ty Simpson helps your team. That is true. Okay, you got me. All right, but that's a pretty thin thread.
That's the difference between winning championships and not.
What's fun about day 1 is that we get all of the super hyper relevant fantasy assets, the guys that are going 101, 102, 103 in dynasty rookie drafts. And we have a fantasy desk manned by Pete Nova and coach Jeremiah Retzlev. We've got the couch. All of us will be rotating through the couch. You're going to see a lot of Matty Kiwoom on this desk and the couch. You're going to see a lot of Alex Dunlap on this couch. And at this desk, we've got player profiler teams manning the studio. the news feed, the social media feed. We've got we've got a lot of contributors. And again, the four of us, Maddie, Cody, Alex, and myself, 2 from Player Profiler, 2 from Roster Watch. We're streaming to both places. Check out both sites. Lots of great information about this draft, about these picks, about these players on both sites. We, again, participated in the Huddle Report first round mock contest. So we get to talk about fantasy relevant players as they come in, but then we also get to talk about picks that we were right about and picks that we were wrong about, which is also pretty fun. Now, what's an interesting element that we should talk about on the front end is where a player is drafted. Doesn't matter. As long as he goes first round and you get the team correct, that's all that matters. That's why I only mocked one trade only. Pick 32, I have Arizona trading in to get Ty Simpson at 32. Do I think he's going to make it all the way to 32? I don't care. It doesn't matter. They could pick him at 3, and I give full credit no matter what. So that's an interesting element where the actual pick a player goes doesn't help you. Guessing the exact pick doesn't help you. It's just get the guys going in the first round and get the guys' exact team. And there's lots of different ways. Last year, I ended up winning amongst this group because I had James Pierce going to the Falcons 10 picks earlier. They trade back in to get him, and I still got full credit, and that's what put me over the top. Will I get that lucky again? Probably not, but I'm feeling very good because I did not build in the trades that these guys did. So there's less moving parts in my mock, and for that reason, I think that I have a bit of an edge. Also, I drove 8 hours to get here. Pittsburgh. We are here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Yinzer country. And I listened to a lot of McShay. I listened to a lot of Jeremiah. I listened to a lot of Schrager. And listen, this Schrager mock,
This is Matty Schrager over here now.
I did not know exactly who he had at all these different picks. And imagine my surprise when I submitted my mock and then I pulled up Schrager's mock. And there were a lot of similar. That was unintentional. I just want to say that I did not copy any picks from Peter Schrager, and I would submit to a lie detector test on that.
I put some trades in my mock, and I did it kind of the same reason you did with the James Pierce thing. Is I put the Pittsburgh Steelers coming back in. I got 4 trades in mine. Alex has 2. You have 1. I think we all have Simpson coming in. I believe Maddie has Simpson in round 1 as well. I believe to Arizona. 13 to the Rams. He has him going to the Rams. But I put the Steelers back in there, and I got a D lineman in there for Pittsburgh and Caden McDonald. But I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting. I still don't think we actually agreed on what the punishment's gonna be.
We did. No, we did. We'll get into it later. There is a punishment for finishing last. And
is it going to be streamed or videoed or?
They'll allude to it. I want to wait. We're going to wait and have a reveal later tonight. Deal. We have hours to go. By the way, big new change this year, 8 minutes per pick, which is going to make this even more fast and furious than it's been in years past. So I'm excited for that. We're going to send it over to the couch in a second and talk to those guys. But I do want to address one more thing. So I'm trying to get out ahead of a lot of criticism here. I've already been criticized. My mock is up on playerprofiler.com. It's the most bare bones, streamlined, no analysis, just the 32 picks. So I could qualify for the damn contest. And I was a coward sending Jeremiah Love to the Cardinals, not really thinking he was going to end up on the Cardinals, but really having no choice but to put him on the Cardinals, because if I were to put anyone else on the Cardinals, then it would displace them from a team I thought would be more likely to get them. So that was strategic, but also cowardly. And Faraz Sadiq, actually, he texted me and he called me out. He didn't call me a coward because he's such a nice guy, but there was an undercurrent of what you did with Jeremiah Love at 3 was cowardly. And I just want everyone to know that I don't actually think he belongs in Arizona at all. I would not put him on Arizona. If it were me, that's been one of the last places I would want him. I love the value that they were able to bank getting Tyler Algier, who I think has a bell cow profile. And They didn't have to pay a bell cow price to get him, and you squander all that value. You do all that work on Tyler Algier only to waste it by bringing in Jeremiah Love. No way that happens, but I did put it in the mock for strategic reasons, and I just want to make that excuse before the draft even starts.
Well, I bent the knee to Michael Bidwell, and I did the same thing.
Oh,
but I'm not going to be a coward and cry about it for 10 minutes. I'm just going to tell you point blank, I did it because I think that Michael Bidwell is the master of the puppets in Arizona, and that's how the sausage is made. So
that's the thing. It is actually possible. Do I think it's going to happen? No, because any given pick is probably not going to happen. The only pick we know is going to happen is Mendoza. We did actually think Bailey was a mild lock to the Jets at 2 until today. And then the odds flipped in the prediction markets. But the analysts that we trust, there was a consensus, a small sample consensus among the top analysts that Bailey to the Jets is going to happen. So that's why I think a lot of us here in this room, you can see we have an open concept show today where, we're going to be playing some ping pong, and we want you to be able to see everyone else that is here in our background. So that was a conceptual execution of the studio layout that we had. We've learned a lot of lessons. This is draft number 5 for the Player Profiler team, and we are going to kick it over now to the couch.
Here we are on the couch. Alex Dunlap, Matty Kiwoom, pumped to be here for the 2026 NFL Draft. I'm pumped to be on the couch.
The couch is the most comfortable place in the basement.
I mean, look.
I got my legs crossed. Look at me.
Look at us. We're sitting here drinking Miller Lights and sitting on a couch.
It's perfect.
So it's a much better assignment than having to be at the stodgy main desk over there. I think, Matty, as we're getting ready to get this thing kicked off and done, they talked about, obviously, the main sort of storylines we're going to be watching as the draft gets started are, what's going to, honestly, dude, it's going to be a big deal to figure out as far as what the media, the big media has said about the second and third picks with David Bailey and Arvell Reese, who ended up being right? Did the Jets end up
bamboozling everybody? Yeah.
All that. That's such great drama, and I get it. But for us as fantasy players, it really begins to become interesting with these wide receivers coming off the board, because we know in redraft and in best ball, we know where Jeremiah Love is going right now. It's in best ball. It's going to be a 1-2 turn kind of guy, regardless of where he ends up going. We have, unless he goes to the Giants, that could get a little bit muddied up.
But we're talking second round floor.
Right.
There's nothing lower than
right. But with these wide receivers.
Right.
Now, and especially with the top 3 that are going to be the sort of the focus. Let's just focus on the top 3.
Okay.
So
those are the guys we know are going round 1.
Right.
We know they're going to be called tonight.
And we know that they're going to be going probably all gone. I think. Do you agree that the floor, the drop dead spot, is 16 to the Jets?
I believe
for Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson, Mekhi Lemon.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, these receivers have been steamed up throughout the entire process. These were 3 guys that we were expecting maybe to go 20s. Remember a couple of years ago, the JSN, Zay Flowers, Quentin Johnston, the 1-2-3, bang, bang, boom. But all these guys have been steamed up. Now we're talking about Jordan Tyson going 5th overall. We're talking about Carnell Tate going 7th overall. Mekhi Lemon might be 13th, 16th is probably the last bit of it.
Oh, dude.
We're going to get 3 guys in the top half of first round, which immediately becomes the 102, the 103, the 104 in your 1 QB leagues, right? Your rookie drafts. And they're probably going to have pretty expensive, redraft value as well.
Whenever I think about what's about to happen and why it's so consequential for us as people who, care so I care about the NFL draft first.
The NFL draft is the best.
I love the
The
NFL
best.
draft first and foremost, but dude, I really, really care about my Dynasty rookie drafts.
Mhm.
They're going to be starting on Sunday for most leagues, right? And I just wonder, is there that big a difference for you between Carnell Tate and Jordan Tyson at the very top, or maybe you have Mekhi Lemon in that
No,
same?
Mekhi Lemon's. It's like my rankings as of right now. I got Tyson at 1, Tate at 2, ... Mekhi Lemon at 3.
But Mekhi Lemon at a tier that is a tier that's not within Jordan Tyson and those guys and Tate, but also not in the tier of the other 3 that we think might go first round. Right?
Yeah, that makes so. As I see it now, Tyson, Tate, that's a tier. Mekhi Lemon, he could get caught up if Denzel Boston, Casey Concepcion, if they land.
You're saying that
they might be in that same tier with Lemon.
Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I can abide by that.
I see. That's where I'm not. I didn't grade Lemon out all that supreme as opposed to the next guy.
Well, dude, I just. Okay, well, this isn't where I was planning for this to go.
Well, let's talk about it, baby. We're on the couch.
Well, right. I look at Mekhi Lemon, a guy. All right, so Biletnikoff Award winner, right?
Yeah, but your boy Cody said the worst Biletnikoff winner of all time. Do you believe it?
I am not a I'm not a Biletnikoff Award voter. I've talked to Cody before about this.
Worst Biletnikoff Award winner of all time. Statistically.
Thank you.
Statistically.
Look,
the least efficient Biletnikoff Award
what do
winner
you
since the first Biletnikoff Award winner.
See, we were on different couches. I didn't know the divide in this couch was Mekhi Lemon.
What do you think about Cockamamie PFF and their wide receiver grades?
They don't exist
anymore. Dude, you gonna put me on blast for PFF right now? It's not as good as it's player profile versus PFF, bro. You know what I mean? No, but what I'm saying is that he graded well. He
graded out as the
number 1
as the top wide receiver.
Yeah,
right. And so I'm not saying that, but like the yards per route run is ridiculous.
Yeah,
he had a really good teammate in Jacoby Lane. Like it's a situation with Mekhi Lemon, a guy who came into college playing DB that has a real time understanding of route extension points, and like he's very, very crafty. And I can understand people say at the NFL level, to some degree I almost agree that maybe he's going to have to be slot.
Well, let me ask you this: so how's your top 3 ranked? Let's start there.
My
top 3 receivers. You have
Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson.
Okay, so we're in lockstep here. So let me ask you this: Mekhi Lemon goes 13 to the Rams, so he's the number 3.
Which is
Denzel Boston, Casey Concepcion goes to the Browns, goes to one of these teams where we're talking about.
Hold on. So who goes to the Browns?
The next tier guys, whoever your favorite is: Boston, Concepcion, Omar Cooper Jr. Who's your number 4? He goes to a spot where we're seeing a runway for 110 targets. Could he jockey? He jump over Mekhi Lemon. Well, that's where I'm thinking. Yeah, he can.
No, I think before we get to those next 3, which are for me, Casey Concepcion, then Denzel Boston, and then Omar Cooper, which in some way during this whole process has become something where it's like I'm contrarian somehow about not thinking that Omar Cooper is like a lock to.
I'm with you on that. I am 100% with you on that.
I looked at his over under today. It's like 23.5.
Yeah, he's a lock route 1.
And so,
yawn.
I just think that.
Excusez-moi. You can't say that to the couch, Hefe. El Hefe. Come sit down. We're talking about receivers here.
Hold on. Are you saying
we're boring?
Are you saying yawn about Casey Concepcion or about our content?
Cooper.
Oh, okay. All right.
Cooper is
Gasp
a
of
yawn
relief here.
fest.
Okay. I thought you were talking about us. I thought that was coming at the throat.
I thought he was saying
want to put him in the first round
it's
at all.
tough, right? It was tough to do.
I hated it.
I love Elijah Surratt too.
I love Elijah Surratt.
I love Elijah Surratt. Let's talk about Surratt. He ain't going
no.
tonight. But I love Elijah Surratt.
Yeah. we don't need to talk about him tonight, but dude, like that guy's he could be a supercharged,
Dog.
like a supercharged Michael Pittman.
Yeah, 15
So-
touchdowns in
so-
college.
I will say this though, like let's get back to the thing about the top. 10.
Let's
Okay.
get the couch
So-
gets derailed.
So, whenever we think about it, let's just say Carnell Tate goes. Let's say Carnell Tate goes off at 7.
Commanders. Yep, makes sense.
He was saying that he would love to be with Jaden Daniels, and what a great spot, all the rest of it. But then let's say Jordan Tyson, let's say the Dolphins take him at 11 to snipe the Cowboys, who might have something brewing right now with George Pickens, who just signed.
That's right.
So, like with that, Jordan Tyson in an offense, and I understand. Like they're like, oh, it's a new coach. It's Malik Willis. It's all this stuff, right?
You get right in 100 targets if he goes to the Dolphins.
Dude, we're talking
could pencil
Tutu
in.
Atwell, Malik Washington.
Right.
Like we're talking like that's Jordan Tyson's. Like, have you watched Jordan Tyson?
No, Jordan Tyson's sick, and from all reports, his private workouts were awesome.
Jordan
He's healthy.
Jordan Tyson as a Miami Dolphin or Carnell Tate as a Washington Commander. Who do you take first?
Well, I'm taking Tyson. I'm going into tonight with Tyson ranked higher. So we're
so
going to
you
have
already
to
have him.
see.
Okay, so
We're in the inverse. Let's call it inverse for me because I got Tyson 1. Tate to the Dolphins, Tyson to the Commanders.
there.
Then I may have to flip flop it because if the Dolphins decide receivers the choice at 11, which we talked about this last night, the new team builder there, the new head coach there, they are built to not go early receiver.
They just aren't.
They're
Dude,
just never. That's just
John
not the way.
John Eric Sullivan is a
Right.
Green Bay Packers lifer.
Yes, back to Turner.
Back to like he was even there with what's the guy? Oh man, I
Before
forget his.
Gutenhurst was
I forget his
Ted
name.
Turner? Not Ted
No,
Turner.
it was Ted. What was his name with the gray hair? Who's always the Senior Bowl. The old
Ted Thompson, not Turner.
Yeah.
This is why
Like,
I'm here. That's why.
even like they are not.
They're not going.
They are not a first round, like
Receiver
a first
guy.
round receiver type of team. But look at that depth chart.
And also BPA. The best player available at 11 could be Carnell Tate.
Yep.
Could be Jordan Tyson. And at that
And
point,
look-
you're doing yourself a disservice.
I can already probably see people in the chat saying like, well, they took Golden last year. Like it's like, well, what do you think he learned about that Golden?
Right.
You know what I mean?
No,
he's like
exactly.
he's like maybe everything that I've learned about this. That's a team that goes edge. They go athletic defensive line.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, getting this unsexy.
They go corner.
Yeah, you brought up Lucas Van Ness. That is
Yeah.
the quintessential
It's
Green Bay
like-
Packer pick when they didn't need him. But
Right.
They got him.
And so I think that it would say a lot if they were to go with a
Yeah.
dude like that. It would say it's like this is our guy. But then you go back and you say like, okay, so I'm sitting here in my dynasty draft, and is Jordan Tyson going to come into camp with a tweaked hamstring? You know what I mean?
History would say
like,
it's a possibility.
History
Yeah.
would say it's not just a possibility. It's like
A likelihood. maybe.
it's likely, but then again, we've had these awesome wide receivers in the past. And look, I'm not comparing Jordan Tyson to these guys or whatever, but I've talked with Cody about this before. It's like, how much did you really worry about the fact of the heartache you had all week about Mike Evans having a hamstring thing? He was a soft tissue thing. How much did you worry about Julio Jones having a soft tissue thing? How much did you really worry about this stuff? And then, no.
Pipe down, Peanut Factory.
I am not comping Jordan Tyson to either of these players.
No, I understand what you're saying. You sometimes have to sweat out Tuesday, Wednesday.
You have to sometimes with some of these guys, man, these high
And they
performance
suit up on
athletes,
Sundays.
you sweat it out.
You just gotta sweat it out.
And dude, we have great sources within that Arizona State program who've told us this guy's a dog. He played through not just one but two hamstrings. At that point, you realize, hold on, wait. It was two hamstrings. And so now I'm more kind of more worried on one side of the whole thing. It's just a totally wild thing. And then you have the whole Mekhi Lemon deal, and he's probably gonna go after these two guys, right? That's what all the betting markets are telling us.
For sure.
And you have so 13. Does he go to the Rams? If he goes to the Rams, it's like, oh, great. I got a guy jumping into the Jordan Whittington role.
Right. Special team points. If you're in Scott Fishbowl, that's you like it.
Do I love that? 16 is the floor. Let's throw it over to the stand-up desk over here.
All right. Well, round one's about to kick off. We obviously know Fernando Mendoza is likely going to be the number one overall pick. And we've talked about it. I think we don't need to beat the point here, right? We got 8 minutes to pretty much talk about Fernando Mendoza, but let's kind of talk about where we see him in the rankings here. And I got Jeremiah with me. Now, Jeremiah, when we look at Fernando Mendoza, right, the consensus has him as, probably that 102 pick in superflex in these upcoming rookie drafts. Now, we don't have the landing spots for everybody else, but, in a weak class with quarterbacks, especially in Superflex Dynasty, many people are pushing him up to be that 102 pick. Is that a place that you feel comfortable taking a guy that, for me, is really like a fringe, probably quarterback 2 at his ceiling? What about you? What do you think about that?
I think you have to go after your league mate who has Brock Bowers. Can I go and target luring that stack out there for Fernando Mendoza? Because for the 1-2, market value is there. It will be Fernando Mendoza. But I want to get out of that business because there's quarterbacks that I like, which in our Player Profiler Dynasty ranks, Pete, we've got 14 overall Fernando Mendoza, and I'll want your opinion on this. Dak Prescott, ahead of Dak Prescott, ahead of CJ Stroud, Jordan Love, Tyler Shuck, we've been talking about today, Pete,
Yeah.
Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray.
Shake and bake.
Do you agree or disagree with that 14th ranking, and how are you manipulating things to your favor in the Dynasty market?
Yeah, I think 14 is a little aggressive for Mendoza, but we're talking about a guy that's probably going to be a mid quarterback 2 in Superflex for the quarterback position. And with the youth on his side, that's why he goes ahead of guys like Dak Prescott in our rankings, who's 32 years old, right? And so if you look at the Player Profiler rankings and you just look at just their age and their lifetime value, Dak Prescott has a lifetime value of 152. Fernando Mendoza has a lifetime value of 164. And this guy is 10 years younger than Dak Prescott. So if I'm looking at that and I'm playing Dynasty and I'm sitting here saying Dak Prescott is going to, based on from a lifetime value standpoint, is just 10 points lower than Mendoza, who's 10 years younger than him, that tells you all you need to know. We believe that Dak Prescott has high-end QB1 value. It's just a matter of how long can he be on the field, how long is his career going to last, and how long can he be at the top of the league for fantasy football as long as he's healthy and these weapons stay with him. We talk about weapons. George Pickens is another guy that we're going to probably get into at some point today. He signed his tag. Is there a possibility, shifting gears here just a little bit, we can stay on the lane of Mendoza, but I want to know what your thoughts are about Pickens. Do you think Pickens gets moved tonight?
I think it's definitely live, but we'll have to see. We have that A.J. Brown fallout. What's going to happen with New England? So I think there's going to be a couple teams parked on the sidelines. The Chargers have been a team that have come up. And Pete, how would you take George Pickens in the Chargers offense? We talked earlier, Pete, about Keenan Allen. Where's he going to go? We have the archetype. You have Lab McConkey. Who's going to block? Who's going to be a dog in that Chargers offense? Do you think it's viable, or do you think George Pickens signs that tender, that $27 million, and he's good to go to the 600 pass attempt offense in the Dallas Cowboys and run it back another year.
Yeah, I think for fantasy wise, him going to the Chargers would be interesting. We also have the elephant in the room of Quentin Johnston, who I know Matt, the Podfather, was talking about him. He thinks there's a possibility he could get moved at some point, and there's some steam going around there about Quentin Johnston. So we'll see if there's any movement on him. But what I would say about George Pickens, he's currently ranked as the number 11 wide receiver in Player Profiler's Dynasty rankings currently. And if he's no longer with the Dallas Cowboys, that shifts the ranking for me for sure. We obviously have to see where he goes, but the Los Angeles Chargers would be a solid spot, but I think they have a lot more needs, like the offensive line, who you have two guys at left and right tackle. We have no idea how healthy Joe Alt and Slater will be returning. I have more concern about Slater being the same guy that he was in the past. So I think it'd be a little silly. A team that I think would maybe make sense to trade for George Pickens is maybe you look at a team like the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Kansas City Chiefs would be interesting. I just definitely don't know if that would be the move, but they hold the number 10 overall pick. I think it would be a little bit cheaper than the 10 overall pick to get Pickens because you still got to extend him, but that could be an interesting landing spot. The Chiefs have a high second round pick, and they also have a late first round pick because they made that trade with Trent McDuffie to the Rams. So the Chiefs are a team that I would have my eye on. Not that there's any sources, but if Pickens is possible to be moved, they're a team that makes sense just given their needs and all the draft capital that they have.
The problem, Pete, is, and Daniel Jeremiah said this best, George Pickens is the type of player that you want to date, you don't want to marry. So I think it's the hot potato where you're passing it around. Yeah, nobody wants to date. No one wants to marry. They don't want their daughter.
I think it was they don't want their sister to date George Pickens. No, Stephon Diggs.
Yes,
when he was on the Vikings. Yes.
Yeah, so you have George Pickens here. The movement is there, and Pete brings up a great point though about multiple teams having multiple draft picks in round one, and I think that's going to drive that trade market tonight. So you watch these teams that they have malleability, maneuverability. I know Podfather and Cody, they led the show off with, hey, where does Ty Simpson go? Well, guess what? There's ammo on the side of the Cardinals because there's the early second round pick, but then also the Jets have multiple first round picks. So there's a lot that can go out there as far as, hey, how are we going to maneuver up and down the board? What's the first worth? And the Cleveland Browns, they're another team. As much as you don't want a player to go for fantasy purposes, all these teams have a lot of viability. Very live. I know on the couch, Podfather was just saying how boring Omar Cooper Jr. is. We keep seeing him mocked to the Jets.
Yep.
And Carnell Tate.
Steelers too.
Who are some teams that right now you think, hey, this is going to be an implosion versus the rankings that we have? Is it a team like the Browns, like the Jets, Pete?
Man, I would say a team that I would absolutely hate to land one of these big wide receivers would be the Ravens right now, right? The Ravens have a guy like Zay Flowers who, crazy enough, Zay Flowers was a wide receiver 1 in fantasy football last year, but
wide receiver 7.
You wouldn't even really know it because it didn't feel that way with Zay Flowers. And so the Ravens adding to that room makes some sense because we're always saying Lamar needs more weapons. Lamar needs more weapons, right? They did extend Bateman, I think, a year or two ago. Zay Flowers is currently wide receiver 22 in our Dynasty rankings. It would have some impact on Zay Flowers, right? At his ranking of 22. And let's just say a guy like Jordan Tyson goes there, right? We talk about Mekhi Lemon, we talk about Carnell Tate. I think it's really more likely a guy like Tyson or Tate. Mekhi Lemon going there would not that it would feel like overlapping skill sets, but I feel like they need, and they've been lacking a big body wide receiver. They did have DeAndre Hopkins there last year, who was pretty solid in the red zone. So yeah, that would be like if Mekhi Lemon went to the Ravens, let's just play it out.
Yes.
If Mekhi Lemon goes to the Ravens and, Casey can set, or let's just say Denzel Boston. Let's go Denzel Boston.
Yes.
Denzel Boston goes to the Browns with a pretty solid pathway to targets. You have Jerry Jeudy, but then it's really Harold Fannin. There's obviously quarterback concerns there. Denzel Boston, he goes to the Browns. Would you consider taking Boston over a guy like Mekhi Lemon? I don't think I would be there yet, right? And that's where we get really reactive with some of these picks, right? But you start to say, man, like
you're on the right track.
You're on the right track, right? So so Denzel Boston doesn't do it for you. what would be a move that would do it for you with, like, say, Casey Conception or Mark Cooper? Would a Mark Cooper going to the Steelers be a possibility where you maybe take him over Lemon if he goes to the Ravens? Or would it be maybe KC to the Rams, maybe?
Oh, Casey Concepcion to the Rams. I would absolutely. Hey, Rams will make her dance. There's a redundant skill set overlap with Zay Flowers and Mekhi Lemon. And my contention, and this is something that we may see later in round 1, Pete, is Casey Concepcion. If you give him Jordan Mailata versus Mekhi Lemon in 2025, the production
All right. The first pick is in, and the fantasy desk is still talking because we are still getting our logistics figured out. We actually have a secret code word that we're going to give everybody, and it's behind the scene. Maybe we'll let people in on that later. But the pick is in. The 101 in this particular draft is locked.
David Bailey?
No, it was no. You didn't know? It's Casey Concepcion. Yeah, no, it is.
The couch isn't gonna like that one,
Concepcion to Las Vegas,
dude. That's a weapon for Kirk Cousins, baby.
Yeah, no, it's Mendoza. It's Mendoza as it always was, and I like Mendoza a lot in Superflex. So what we're going to be doing a lot today is talking about these players, especially the offensive players, the skill position players in particular, in the context of fantasy leagues, but then even more specifically in the context of Dynasty. I don't much care about Mendoza as a pocket passer in single quarterback leagues. Those players don't move the needle. You got to have like a Matthew Stafford, Tom Brady, 50 touchdown level season to really make a difference. Typically, you want some mobility with these players. So in single quarterback, I'm not going to be pushing the button on Mendoza at all, but in Superflex, I am of the opinion, I think probably 70% of people I talk to believe that this is the right tactical move, is that you just swallow the medicine at the 102 in Superflex and 2QB Dynasty rookie drafts and just go with the quarterback that you know is going to play out his full rookie contract, is going to have every opportunity to succeed. And because he took Indiana of all teams, Indiana, he took that football team. I mean, I was a football manager at Northwestern, and that was the one game we knew we could win. And this is,
what about Purdue?
Many years ago. They had Drew Brees.
That was Drew Brees. Yeah,
they had Drew Brees.
That was Drew Brees.
Yeah, they had Drew Brees and a guy named Strickland, who was a wide receiver, was unbelievable. Anyway, so we lost on a 99-yard pass in the final minute of the game where Drew Brees was scrambling around in the end zone and Sutherland. Was it Sutherland or was that what was Iowa? Anyway, Strickland or Sutherland, whatever. And 99-yard pass, it was fluttering right by my head, actually. But he caught it. Unfortunately, it didn't go out of bounds. He caught it for a touchdown. We were toast. Our corners were awful. Bottom line is, Indiana was the one team, if you were a Big Ten program, you know you could beat. And then Mendoza comes along, and he just carries. And so I am on board with Mendoza at the 101, and I'm also on board with him at the 102 in Dynasty Superflex rookie drafts. So good pick by the Raiders, and then also good pick by any Dynasty leaguers that want to pick him at the 102, lock in that value, trade him down the road, whatever it is. You're gonna be happy that you didn't take a chance and that you lock in that value and that stability, because the later you go in a rookie draft, the more you can take chances. But 102, 103, 104, you want to first and foremost minimize risk, and Mendoza is the ultimate risk minimization play at the 102 in Superflex Dynasty rookie draft. So push the button on him, and you will notice on the screen $50 off the Player Profiler all-in package, which includes Dynasty Deluxe, the Dynasty Rankings, $50 off with code DRAFT. Code DRAFT. And if you enjoy us, driving 8 hours with all this equipment to Pittsburgh for really no reason, because we could do this from anywhere, as we proved last year, doing it from Florida because we didn't want to go to Green Bay. Regardless, if you like this, it's a great deal just for you, just this weekend through Sunday. This code is good. Code DRAFT, $50 off through Sunday. Get it now. And Mendoza, thoughts, Cody Carpenter.
Is it more shocking that Mendoza goes to the Raiders at 101 or that Diana Rossini deleted her Twitter account?
This is where we are. And sadly, the first person I think about in these scenarios is my daughter, because she's this huge Patriots fan. And it's just been building and building and building. It's just been a straight line up with her fandom and the NFL.
It's fair.
And then this scandal happens and she doesn't know what to make of it. I've lived through Spygate.
This is her first real fandom, thing.
I told her to get used to it. This is what Patriots fans, we are hardened to the experience of scandals. At one point, there was a slight variance in the amount of air that was in the footballs that created a scandal. So this is par for the course. Will Vrabel survive is going to be a storyline throughout the weekend, but we got to talk about the fact that this is an 8-minute clock and the picks are coming in fast and furious, and the Jets pick is in, and it is
edge rusher from Texas Tech, David Bailey.
Yes, we got it. Did you get it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we got it, dude. We got it.
This is not an Arvell Reese table right here. So that's where we're at. David Bailey goes 102 to the Jets. This thing was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth,
Back and forth.
back, forth, and now back to David Bailey on draft night. It's official. Aaron Glenn finds his Aiden Hutchinson type in the edge rusher from Texas Tech, and David Bailey, formerly from Stanford, the best pure edge rusher in this class, a pass rush, professional, I guess you'd say, where Arvell Reese is more of a project coming out of Ohio State. He might be this next pick, depending on what the Arizona Cardinals do. But David Bailey, they do the right thing here and take David Bailey, the edge rusher from Texas Tech.
So we're going to start arguing right away. Reese is not a project. He's super versatile. I love that the hyper.
He's a project as a pure edge rusher.
Incredible versatility does not make a guy a project.
Yes, it does. He's not Micah Parsons. He has Micah Parsons in his range of outcomes. He's just not there yet. He's a linebacker that is working to become a full-time, full-blown edge. He, in an interview a month and a half ago, said that on a specific play, he did an interview with a media personality, and the guy said, "This is my favorite play of you." And he pops it up on the screen against Penn State, and it's him bending the edge and almost getting a sack. And Arvell Reese says, "I don't even know what my technique was right there. And honestly, I didn't even know what I was doing. He told me on the sideline that I need to aim for this part of his body, his shoulder, and attack it, and then dip and rip. And I'd never done that before." So he was literally learning the position.
Okay.
8 months ago.
Okay.
And so he's not a full-blown professional as an edge rusher yet. He's a developing edge rusher.
Okay. Oh, fine. That pick, my correct pick there was mostly due to a preponderance of evidence from the most plugged in insiders that I trust. This was very much an insider pick. The people that have the most information with the most connections around the league were fairly certain that it was going to be Bailey. And I found that very interesting in the prediction markets on Polymarket and Kalshi. I checked Kalshi just before we went live, and the Reese was the favorite. So you could make some real money on Kalshi if you just listen to like the historically best analysts in this game. And that's what you do. With pick 2, we're not trying to get cute. If there is a consensus forming around the most plugged in people, you just go in that direction. That's a lesson I've learned over the years. And that one's for Faraz. Because Faraz, did I think that the Jets should draft Bailey? No, I would have gone Reese if I were the Jets. Or I might have even gone offensive line, knowing how much affinity I have for offensive line, as so many of you know that listen to the Decision Point. And I will also say, I need to issue an apology to one Anand Nanduri. Anand Nanduri comes with us here. He is our perpetual correspondent at all these events. He picks up their credentials from Player Profiler. He goes in, he interviews the players. He is the best. I've watched him. I've stood behind him as he's been interviewing players where I cower and he steps up and he asks great questions. He shows up and there's no credential for him because I forgot. Thankfully, he went pretty early, and now he's back. So Anand Nanduri is also here. He's going to be on the couch, and we would love to have him there at the event. I just flaked out and forgot, and I will make it up to you, Anand. But he is also here. So this is a very loaded room of smart football and fantasy minds. And then another pick is in, and we should kick it over. We need to kick this over. We're going to kick this. I saw it. Let's kick it over. I think it's couch.
So we're here on the couch. I got to say this selfishly. We've done this now 3 years, right, Anand?
Something like that.
And I got to say, having you here is the best. We never get to yap it. We never get to yap about the draft together, Anand. So having you here, brother, it's sick, dude. Having you on the couch is even better.
Dude, we're having all kinds of fun here. I haven't been on the stream day one since, I want to say 2022 in Vegas. So shout out to the chat and everybody that's been riding since then. I think that was our first one, but the Cardinals pick is in.
And it sounds like if you can hear the hooting and hollering in the back, it's one Jeremiah Love. We'll see. Because I just heard Matty Kelly just say he's 3 for 3. We know who he picked. So it sounds like there's a running back going.
How do we feel?
This is how do you call this? This is getting told what to do at your job. This is when you don't love your job. When your boss says, do something, I don't care, do something.
There is one very, very he might have worn scarlet and gray once upon a time, but when we look at this, right? When was the last time we had a player get this kind of draft capital at running back? It's been a long time.
Saquon is the last time it got this high.
Right?
We've seen Bijan flirt, right? We've seen Ashton Genty flirt with the top 5, but this is a top 3 running back. So for fantasy, you love it. But this is also a team that signed Tyler Algier. They did not plan on taking a running back, I feel. But here we go. Yeah. It sounds like they took a running back, baby.
F's in the chat for Tyler Algier, man.
Yo, no, brother. Can he get – dude, can we talk about that real quick? Imagine being Tyler Algier. You go to the Falcons. You have a great rookie year. They go, thanks for your duties, sir. We're going to draft Bijan. So then you go fly out to Arizona. Monty Ossenfort and company says, hey, come here. You're going to work with James Conner. You're gonna play. We need you. Nope. Deja vu happens and they do it again. They do it again.
Do you think that he's living the real life version of the he can't keep getting away with this meme?
Yes.
Yeah, you got to feel for Tyler Algier. He's done nothing wrong except be behind Jeremiah Love and Bijan Robinson.
Chat, give some love for Tyler Algier. Throw out the hearts for Tyler Algier, chat.
Right? This is the saddest handcuff of all time. Nobody drafted him to be a handcuff twice. 2 times now. He's not supposed to be a handcuff and gets handcuffed anyway. Yeah. Athens PD must have hit him up. He must have been a Georgia Bulldog at some point.
Can I just say that one thing? Like I was talking with Matt about this, and what we have here is honestly, this is not the best landing spot for Jeremiah Love for fantasy.
No. It's just a volume king, but. How valuable are the touches?
Do you know what what just happened? Just you take what Bijan. He just inherited Bijan Robinson's Tyler Algier problem.
Valid.
You know what I mean? Like it's like that's what just happened. Tyler Algier's getting paid $7 million. That's a guy who, without an elite runner next to him, is a 1,000-yard rusher as a rookie coming in. Like he just inherited a role where he's going to obviously be used in the passing game. Obviously, here's the thing: ownership won out here. Ownership won out over Monty Ossenfort, understandably to some degree, right? They couldn't find anybody to trade up.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to trade up for your boy.
Yeah.
So
that's what it was, right?
And it's just, and then what Monty had to say was, he was like, okay, that was my one way that I could get this going. Now that David Bailey's off the board, I had said the whole time I wanted Bailey. I feel like if this thing would have hit the right way to where if Bailey would have been there, I could have talked him into taking him. Now that he's not there and I don't have the same conviction about Arvell Reese, what am I going to tell ownership?
That's the tough problem, right?
Yeah, so like with Jeremiah Love, I get it, but I do think that when we kind of after this, when we start to restructure our best ball, structures about how things go, it doesn't change anything at the top of Dynasty rookie drafts. No. But as far as the 2026 season in best ball, I'm thinking that Jeremiah Love is somebody that is not going to be taken at, people were talking about taking him over like Ashton Genty and stuff. And at this point, Ashton Genty doesn't have a huge Tyler Algier problem. James Conner is about, say what you will about him, he's about to announce all of Arizona Cardinals day 2 picks. Pittsburgh, that organization still cares to get him the football.
The strangest part about this is if you're gonna hire a GM and empower them, and then basically do the opposite of what they want to do here, right? I think you're in big trouble, and Arizona's been in big trouble for a long time. They had to dump Kyler Murray. I love the player, like no pun intended. Like I love Jeremiah Love.
Arguably the best player in the draft.
Right.
There's
an
the
argument
guy and
he's the number one player in the draft. Now the question then becomes,
all right, now Pete, Jeremiah Love, elite contact balance, would not let him fall any further than pick 3 overall to the Arizona Cardinals. In our rankings, Pete, look, there's no question. It's still the 101 for Jeremiah Love. In our dynasty rankings, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Ashton Genty, Omarion Hampton, and Jeremiah Love. Does Jeremiah Love creep up over somebody like Omarion Hampton, Pete?
I think Jeremiah Love just, to me, a better prospect, right, coming out. And both guys are going to deal with some sort of competition. You do have a little bit of a bump up because Mike McDaniels is going to be there, and you expect that run game to be even more improved this year. But there's still some concerns about the offensive line, and the Cardinals have similar concerns as well. But I honestly would probably still have Love ahead of Omarion Hampton. While I liked what Omarion Hampton did, I think Love has a much better profile as a receiver, just an all-around more explosive running back. So for fantasy football wise, I'm not in love with the Love landing spot, so to speak, but I still have him over Omarion Hampton here. And I know Player Profiler has him at 5 and Hampton at 4. I would probably flip that and probably even have Devon Achane creeping up pretty close to maybe even being ahead of Omarion Hampton as well.
Well, we saw, and Alex was talking about inheriting problems. Tyler Algier inherits a problem. Jeremiah Love, he leaves one place with Bijan Robinson, and now he can't escape. Another bell cow running back goes ahead of him on the depth chart. Here's a question. Is there any dent in the camp? Because the one strength that Tyler Algier has is siphoning off touches in the red zone. Pete, is there any concern for Tyler Algier siphoning off carries in the red zone where you're a little bit bearish amongst those top 5, top 6 ranks in our dynasty rankings?
Honestly, absolutely not. I mean, you take a player at number 3 here at a running back on a team that has a lot of needs that there were talks they might trade out. And there's, to me, it's like you don't make that pick if you're not going to give him the workload. Now, I do want to shift the focus here because Maddie and them did a good job talking about Love, because we have another pick that's officially in, and it's the Titans, who are stocking up around Cam Ward, who bring in Carnell Tate at number 4 here. This is happening in real time, obviously. And Carnell Tate to the Titans is a really, really big bump up to this room. I know we talked about we talked about the Commanders. We talked about the Giants. We've talked about a lot of landing spots for these receivers, but Carnell Tate to the Titans has really not been one that I've heard many say. Yeah, there was some talk about maybe Jeremiah Love goes there. Yep. Right now, Love goes ahead of them. And now we're seeing, as the Podfather was just talking to me and you before, you're seeing the downstream where Love going at 3. Now you're seeing there's going to be a lot of, what would you say, impact on everything else, because I don't think many people were expecting this.
Downflow.
downfall, right? Carnell Tate, though, right? He currently, before coming into this, Player Profiler had him as the number 3 rookie in rookie rankings. Now, we don't have landing spots for everybody else, but what do you think about this landing spot for Carnell Tate with the Titans?
It's ultra bullish, and this is why we do the reps since January, because inception, all right, a landing spot here, this is what we'll do. With Cam Ward and the Tennessee Titans, Cam Ward is going to get throw mode with somebody he can just lob the ball up to. Calvin Ridley was way too disappointing last season. We thought he was going to be last year's Terry McLaurin from the prior season with Jaden Daniels. We did not get that. And the Tennessee Titans saw that as a problem, and they're going to bring in somebody like a Carnell Tate. 90-10 split on slot and out wide. I want to see Carnell Tate covered up a little bit more in the split over the middle in the slot. But the beauty is you have Wan'Dale Robinson there, Pete. 190 receptions or 180 back-to-back 90-plus reception seasons. And then you have Carnell Tate out there to lob the ball up. What does this do for somebody like Cam Ward as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is stock up for Cam Ward, and we can. I mean, this might sound hyperbolic, but when you talk about Fernando Mendoza, who coming into this draft, right, was ranked for Player Profile as the quarterback 14. You had Cam Ward actually ranked behind him. You bring in Carnell Tate, you bring in Wan'Dale Robinson, you have Gunnar Helm. You know, I mean, do you personally, if you're on the clock right now in a super flex, let's just say it's a super flex startup, right, and Cam Ward and Fernando Mendoza are there for you, which guy are you taking right now?
I think what you have to do is you give the advantage to the Tennessee Titans with Cam Ward. Problem being, though, I think we're going to get bullish a weapon early round 2, somewhere in round 3. This receiver class is deep. We're going to get something else out there for Vegas. So you remember you have blue chip players in Ashton Janty, Brock Bowers out there in support for somebody like Fernando Mendoza. So the jury's not fully out yet, but this right here is huge for Cam Ward. What I would do, Pete, based on our rankings and sentiment out in the fantasy football industry, you can go and trade down from Fernando Mendoza.
We're going to kick it over back to the main desk with the Podfather and Cody.
We've got a couple of moves that have been completed. Obviously, the guys have been talking about the ever-interesting Jeremiah Love to the Cardinals, Carnell Tate to the Tennessee Titans. We just got Arvell Reese, the edge rusher, to the New York Giants at pick number 5. And we'll talk about that, but we have a trade that has just come in from Adam Schefter. The Browns are trading number 6 to the Chiefs, and they're going to move back to 9. So that begs the question, why are the Chiefs moving up from 9 to 6? So they're jumping ahead of New Orleans and Washington.
Okay. New Orleans and Washington both need receiver. They're both threats to draft a receiver. So I believe this is a receiver, and the receiver that's got the most helium is Jordan Tyson right now. I think the logical player to target here with a move up, for whatever reason, I don't know why they're doing this. So just, it's important to note that moving up is not the right move. Yeah. Okay. Just stick and pick, because a lot of times you're going to get the guy you want anyway. You have no idea, or even if you do have an idea, you don't have any kind of certainty about who's picking what. So a lot of times the guy you want is going to fall to you anyway. It's better just to be patient, let the draft come to you. But the Chiefs, I think my mock draft has the Chiefs going offensive line. And so very much could happen. Mauioa could happen. But this trade up makes me think that because they could get him anyway at 9, they're probably going Jordan Tyson. If I'm empathizing with Andy Reid and that whole front office there in Kansas City, I'm thinking we just had our cornerstone franchise quarterback go down with an injury. We need to protect him. We want offensive line. That was the logic behind my particular mock draft selection for them. But it looks like they're thinking, no, actually, it's not about the protection. It's about improving the weaponry. And for that reason, I believe it's going to be Tyson, but we will find out.
We'll find out. We haven't got the pick in quite yet. I think it's going to be coming in here in a couple of seconds. But I will say the speed at which this draft is starting to move along, the 8-minute clock is definitely, like, you can feel it.
I can feel it.
I have a thought here, and that is Matty Schrager. Peter, a couple of weeks ago put out his first mock draft, and he put the Jordan Tyson at pick 9. And then we've heard the last couple of weeks that Brett Veach is going to be aggressive in this draft. People thought maybe he moves up to 3, goes after a Reese, something like this. Turns out he was up to 6,
Mm-mm.
and the pick is not Jordan Tyson. It is what has become the clear-cut cornerback 1 in this class because
Yeah.
Jermod McCoy has
Okay.
fallen down because of injury, yada, yada, yada. Mansour Delane, the cornerback from LSU by way of Virginia Tech, is a Kansas City Chief here at pick 6 after a trade-up.
And this is what I love to do with the mock draft contest. I didn't do it in this particular instance, but I was considering it. And that is looking at the players that teams trade away, because how NFL teams think, they think very one-dimensionally. We traded away a star player at this position, and therefore our priority in the draft needs to be backfilling that particular position. That's the sort of basic math that these teams do. And so if you see a team like the Chiefs trading a cornerback, then your first instinct needs to be, oh, well, then they're going to go. This is why with Miami, they're probably going to draft a receiver. It's not the logical move from a roster construction standpoint, but that's not necessarily how they think. They think we just opened up a huge weakness on our team. We need to use the draft to backfill it. And that's what the Chiefs did. And those of you that had Delane going to Kansas City, congratulations.
So the trade that came through, this was interesting number of selections here. So it was pick 9, went up to pick 6. So they jumped over, like I said, New Orleans and Washington, who Washington's now on the clock. They give a pick 74, which is the 9th pick in round 3, and then pick 148, which is a day 3 selection. So it's not that much. I think it's a good move here to go up and make sure you get your guy, because we have heard the connections to Mansour Delane with New Orleans as a sleeper spot. And then Washington, I mean, there's been a lot of helium on Sonny. If Sonny Styles makes the 7, Sonny Styles is the pick. But Delane has also been one of those names attached to Washington, so it makes sense. He didn't have to go up too far when he goes up to 6 and not like up to 3.
There are a lot of best practices. There are a lot of ways that rules that you can implement to help you navigate these mock draft contests. One of the other rules that I have is that if a player is widely known to be a backstop, right, that player X can't get past team Y. When you hear that time and time again, a lot of times you think, well, yeah, I can't necessarily mock that player to that team because he's supposed to go earlier. The prediction markets have him going earlier. All the analysts have him going to teams earlier. But that's always running in the back of my head, that at least I know that Team X loves player Y, even if it's not necessarily likely that he makes it there. And then so because I heard so much of that about this linebacker going and the obsession that they have with Sonny in Washington, one of the first picks that I started with my mock draft contest was, let's put Sonny to Washington and then build around that, because we know that they're obsessed with him. So I would be shocked, and I'm prepared to be wrong here, but I'd be shocked if they don't go linebacker here.
Pick's not in yet, but do you, so as a team builder though, with this Delane thing, moving up 2 spots like that, like I know you're giving up 74 in this draft, I think it's going to be a good player.
Right.
But you do have to look at what the Chiefs did. The Chiefs got pick 29 from the Rams for cornerback. They also lost their other starting cornerback, Jalen Watson, to the Rams in free agency. So you had
this is why they were always going cornerback, right? I got in the head of the coaching staff and was like, the pressure they're going to put in the front office to protect Mahomes. But no, actually, it was just the 1-for-1 simple math of, we lost these players at this position and we need to backfill.
I think it's a great selection. It's going to
But you said it was a good move that they only gave up an early 3rd rounder. Cooper Kupp was an early 3rd rounder. Michael Wilson was an early 3rd rounder. And they also need wide receiver as well, because they have a slot receiver. They have a one-dimensional slot yak guy. And Rashee Rice is a very good yak player, but he's one-dimensional. And then they have a first-round bust in Xavier Worthy. So I wouldn't have made I would have just hoped that he was there. Probably would have been there at 9, given all the options that New Orleans had. But they agree to disagree on the tactics of that move.
The Chiefs now also have pick 29 and pick 40. So pick 29, they're going to get an option at wide receiver, potentially a Boston if he falls, something like this, maybe a Concepcion, and then also a pick 40. They'll also be on the clock as well. And I think we all pretty much know they need to go either tackle, receiver, edge.
This is a common fallacy. This is a
two of
common
those
fallacy
picks.
that we have an abundance of picks, so then now we can just frivolously let them go to move up.
No.
This is a
But the
common
difference-
trap that these teams fall
It's
for.
the difference it's the difference though when there's a clear number one player at a position and then there's a gap, right? Why Jeremiah Love go at 3? 1, because he's great, but 2, the depth from him to everybody else, which is what we've talked about in the Sonic Truth, is there is no tier 2.
This is a key principle, and this is a key principle that, because I had Delane falling to Miami at 11, and in hindsight, this was a principle that I did not fully appreciate, which was the position scarcity of the elite players. And there was only one elite corner. There was ultimately only one elite corner. And that's also, I think, why I think Sonny Styles is the pick here, because he is a one of one in terms of elite linebackers in this class. So there again, I have to admit that I didn't let the singularity of certain players, that didn't factor in as much to my mock draft decisions as it should have.
The chalk was good, and listening to Todd McShay in your drive over was a good idea, because the one thing that he pounded into our brains for the last 2 weeks was that if Sonny Styles falls to 7, Sonny Styles is going 7.
Yes.
Linebacker from Ohio State, Sonny Styles,
I got it.
Washington Commander.
Am I in the lead? Am I in the lead in this room?
I don't think you're leading this room, because I think you missed a couple of those picks, right?
I missed some. I am not 100%, but I have 4 of 7 correct. That's pretty good. I'm batting above 500 as of right now. Certainly, it's going to be way below 500 by the time all 32 picks are in the first round. But so far, I'm above 50%.
You know what? We're actually tied at 15 points,
You and I are tied. And by the way,
and Alex is getting drowned. He's at 11.
last year, very similar scenario unfolded where Cody and I were near the top, neck and neck, and he was actually leading me until the Pierce pick came in. Alex was buried. Maddie was a non-factor, and that's happening again. Maddie is near the bottom of the standings. He's not? You're not?
Maddie.
No,
Matt,
wait.
Maddie-
Maddie had Delane to the Chiefs. I take it back.
Let me.
I think you're not near the bottom of the standings.
Maddie is 1 point behind Alex. He's in 131st place.
Okay, he is in last among this room. Okay, you're in last in the room. He's last in the room. He's last in the room, but again, I did not factor in he had Delane to the Chiefs. So okay, he's doing okay. He's just fine. Maddie's doing just fine. He's not gonna be
Maddie is
a lock yet to absorb the punishment. There is a punishment for last place in this contest, in this draft house. Right now, Maddie is the guy, but it's very close between him and Alex, and we're going to talk about what that punishment's going to be later in the show.
Yeah, Delta, I need an early flight back to Massachusetts. Yeah, I can't be. Oh, sorry. I'm in the shop.
trying to get out.
So there's a bunch of defenders going here. We have cornerback, we have linebacker. These 8-minute picks are coming fast and furious. And the thing is that we also have the analytics team at Player Profiler crunching the numbers. So as more of these skill position players start to come in and get picked, we're going to start to kick it more to the fantasy desk. And they're going to talk about where these players are going up and down the standings. We need to talk about Tyler Algier. We need to talk about where is he going to end up? Where would you draft him at this point? What would you trade for him in Dynasty? He has some value, I guess, as a premium handcuff, but yeah, it's also not best case scenario for Jeremiah Love at all. I would much prefer Jeremiah Love on some other teams, because Jeremiah Love now has a Tyler Algier problem, just like Bijan did, and now fast and furious, another pick is in.
With the number 8 overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints got their wide receiver 1 in Jordan Tyson from Arizona State.
Right position, wrong player for the Podfather here. I had them with Carnell Tate.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. I'm going to be interested to see what the fantasy desk thinks about Jordan Tyson going here, because this is a team that drafted Tyler Shough last year. They did the thing where It wasn't the favorite to go after a beat-up sixth-year quarterback out of Louisville, but they did it, and it paid off down the stretch because he was hot, and this team looked different in the last 6 weeks of the season, even though Chris Olave was fighting injury. They got Juwan Johnson there. They just picked up Travis Achan. I got that one out without a blip. Almost didn't. And then their wide receiver room sucks. So getting Jordan Tyson here, it really gives Tyler Shook an opportunity to say, are you going to sink or are you going to swim? Because if you sink, we might have to go get Archie from Texas next year. And he's got weaponry now.
This is one of those sort of features of a particular pick, one of these dynamics that I don't pay that much attention to, right? I love the fit of Jordan Tyson with the Saints. He is the perfect complement to Chris Olave. The fit is better with Tyson than it is with Tate and than it is with Lemon. But when we're doing our mock drafts, that just, unfortunately, if it were us drafting, that would be a bigger factor. But with the NFL, sometimes they just have, I think it's not something that they think as much about as we do. But in this particular case, they got it right. They got it right. The Saints have been quietly building an improved offensive line, and it's not a luxury pick at all. Just because they have Chris Olave doesn't mean it's a luxury pick. They have no depth behind Olave, and I love the pick. I love the fit, and this is really good for Shuck. This is yet another reason why you might want to bet on Shuck carrying over that tepid breakout from last year into a full-blown breakout in 2026.
Now we're going to move to the Cleveland Browns. We're going to get back on the clock at pick 9. And so we've got 8 picks done in about 40 minutes, which is very impressive. I applaud the NFL for making that adjustment. You could even tweak it down to 7 if you want to. Wouldn't mind it.
No, whoa. We're having a hard enough time here.
No, I know, but
we're having a hard time keeping up.
I love chaos. I love chaos.
It's fun, though. It really is fun.
The chaos is fun. The Chiefs are on the clock, or the Chiefs, the Browns are on the clock. And I just want to say one thing, that before we kick it over to their table, watch offensive line here, because this has been a spot that has been very tumultuous. We have not seen an offensive lineman come off the board yet, correct?
Correct.
It's been quarterback, edge, running back, receiver, edge, corner, linebacker, no offensive line. There's going to be a run at some point here. The Browns need offensive line. The Giants need offensive line. Offensive line could run here, and it might not be the one that people think, because the player that I've heard the most attached to the Cleveland Browns for the last 2 months was not Maui Noah, was not Fano. It was Caden Proctor, the massive human being from Alabama. That's been the name. That's been the name.
I have Fanu to the Browns. So I'm crossing my fingers here. I have Fanu to the Browns. They're on the clock. Let's go. And I also know Maddie has offensive line, but he has Proctor. What do you have?
For the Cleveland Browns?
Yeah, who do you have mocked to the Cleveland Browns?
I sent Spencer Fano to the Cleveland Browns.
So Fanu, and then we have Proctor. What about Alex?
Fano.
Okay, so the majority here, we will be big winners at Player Profiler. So if you're rooting for us to do well in the mock draft contest, we're rooting for Fanu. If you're rooting for Maddie to sneak out, slide away from the punishment, and if you want Alex to be punished over Maddie, then you'll be happy with the Proctor pick. Otherwise, if we all lock in Fanu and then pull away from Maddie,
he's dead in the water.
He's gonna be doomed. He's gonna be dead in the water. Oh, a little hint there. A little hint. Okay, we got to send this over to the fantasy desk. There's some implications here, especially with Jordan Tyson. Kick it over there.
All right, Jeremiah, we've got a lot going on so far, right? Jordan Tyson going over to the Saints was not on my bingo card. I kept saying Carnell Tate, right? And Jordan Tyson now goes to the Saints with Tyler Shuck, who's year 2, right? They took him 2nd round last year. That offense looked pretty solid, right? Kellen Moore, it's kind of rounding out pretty well. Travis Etienne in free agency. Travis Etienne. They obviously did lose. They didn't really lose much, right? They had what's this that went over to Seattle, who was more really like a Rashid Shaheed was more of like a big play threat. So that was already kind of gone at the trade deadline. But with Jordan Tyson, right? You have Chris Olave, who is currently ranked in our rankings pre-draft as the wide receiver 13 for Dynasty Fantasy Football. What do you make of this, right? Is this we had an inkling that they would add to this room. Jordan Tyson there, what are your thoughts initially? How does it affect Chris Olave, and do you like the fit?
I love the fit. It's going to buoy somebody like Tyler Shuck, who, as we were talking about, being ranked below Fernando Mendoza, that's just another quarterback who 5 games last year was a QB1, and Chris Olave has vouched, and then you get a further imprint of Jordan Tyson. This is even more support for somebody like Tyler Shuck, who has rushing Konami code ability, and you're adding another target in the Coors Field, New Orleans Saints football field. So you have that offense, that high generation offense between the NFC South. And then you have Chris Olave last year. I don't think it's going to put a dent in the can of Chris Olave. Last year, he was the wide receiver 6, 100 receptions. I still think you can print that. At the same time, though, we love Jordan Tyson, and it's been a lottery of Tate, Lemon, Tyson going to the Saints. I think this is an excellent landing spot for Jordan Tyson. It's very interesting, though. We're getting clarity going ahead of Mekhi Lemon. So it's Tate, it's Tyson, and we think Lemon will be next. We'll see what happens with the rest of the wide receiver class. But Pete, talking about who do you take? Carnell Tate with the Titans right now as it sits. So you're in a rookie draft, or Jordan Tyson with the Saints. Tate or Tyson, you're on the clock.
This is the ultimate I said it already. I've said it again. Hyperbolic. We're reacting in real time here. And it's going to take some time to sit down, cool off, and really think about it. But we were sitting here talking as it happened. And I said, yeah, I mean, I'm not in love with the landing spot for Jordan Tyson, right? When you factor in, you have Carnell Tate who goes to the Tennessee Titans, right? Which feels like a pretty wide open room. Like you have Wan'Dale Robinson, but you don't really have an elite guy in that room yet. You have an established Wan'Dale who, has had a good last 2 years, right? But we know he's going to command a lot of targets. Whereas with the Saints, you have Chris Olave who, let's face it, guys, I mean, many people wrote this guy off because of the concussions, but we know if Chris Olave is on the field, he's going to be, the guy. Right now, they re-roll the dice on the position and bring in a younger player in the top 10, and where Chris Olave has been a big piece of this offense. Chris Olave's contract is coming up soon too. We got to factor that in as well with the concussion history. Is that something that's factored in? And are they kind of hedging their bets in this offense while also putting more around Tyler Shuck to pull it all together here, right? Initially, I said to you, I think Carnell Tate, I'd still take over Tyson. But the more and more I think about it, Kellen Moore, this offense, Tyler Shuck is a guy that I think will open it up. Cam Ward's not afraid to take chances either, but the more and more I start to think about this long term, I think I'm willing to take the risk on Jordan Tyson. As it said, I hold the right or reserve the right to change my opinion because it could change. But the more and more I think about this, as I've had it marinate for the last 3 minutes, really, I think I actually prefer Tyson, even though the injuries are a concern. I still think I prefer Tyson long-term in that offense for the Saints because I think I just trust Kellen Moore. I've seen it pulled together so far. Now, we don't know about Tyler Shuck, the long-term for him, but we've seen Kellen Moore in this offense. We haven't seen Brian Daboll in that offense just yet.
Well, Pete, let me pitch it to you because I think we can reverse engineer the. When we look at the defenses, run back city helps us in fantasy football. Look at the Bengals, look at the Cowboys, tops in pass attempts, and a lot of that had to do with high octane offense, high skill position players. So you have the Titans and the Saints who are building that. But then for run back city of, hey, you're going to be back on the football field because your defense gives up too many points. Which defense? This might help us break it down. Pete, being a defensive sharp mind like you, who do you think is going to be the defense that is going to put their offense back on the field more? The Tennessee Titans or the New Orleans Saints?
So I'm going to answer this, but also probably give you a solid rebuttal here too, because the Saints defense is probably worse, but they're probably going to be in bigger and higher scoring games. You got to factor that in too. They're in a division that's kind of doesn't have the best defense. Now the Bucs are kind of up and coming, right? They're a couple of pieces away. I think last year they took a step forward on that defense, right? With the Saints, they're kind of scrappy. They don't have a lot of big names. Cameron Jordan's now gone.
They finished strong.
They did finish strong, right? Saints defense looked pretty good. And then you factor in the Carolina Panthers, they're kind of same thing. Not a lot of name, but like the point is, this is a division that plays indoors, really good weather, right? Like dome games, you got to factor that in too.
Yes.
And I also look at Robert Saleh with the Titans. That defense is going to be good. So while they might get on the field more, do they play more of a conservative approach where I think the Saints have a chance to really just be in more higher scoring games, which could benefit Tyson more than it would benefit Carnell Tate.
And we're talking about what's live, what's not coming into this NFL draft at Player Profiler. Of course, Love and Mendoza are 1 and 2 respectively locked in, but 3, 4, 5 is Carnell Tate, Makai Lemon, and then Jordan Tyson at 5. So Pete, what's going to be the spot that's going to make Makai Lemon usurp somebody like Carnell Tate and Jordan Tyson? Because would you agree right now, Tate and Tyson both have some bullish landing spots?
Man, in order for Makai Lemon to jump any of these guys, it's gonna take a solid landing spot because realistically, here comes the here comes the Podfather. Hold on,
the pick is in.
The pick.
Cliffhanger.
No,
you don't have to believe it. You know, it is.
Oh, we got something good. We got something good. That for your board.
We got it.
Got him.
Matt, the only guy that doesn't have is Maddie.
Yeah.
Maddie.
Maddie. Put if you don't know, the Podfather is very competitive. He likes to rub it in when he gets things right. And so far, he's having a really, really good start to the first round here. With Makai Lemon, though, right? He doesn't have the landing spot just yet. Would the New York Jets be a spot that if he went there, you'd feel pretty bullish about? Because I still don't think if he went to the Jets, that's like a spot to have me jump him over those two guys.
I agree wholeheartedly. I'm getting more aligned, though, with somebody like Geno Smith. Early on the season, having a high volume, it could be junk volume for any wide receiver target out there for the Jets. But I would have to put Makai Lemon below Tate and Tyson because the Titans and the Saints, ironically, they're on the up and up. They're improved defenses in basically the second year of their rookie year tenure in Shuck and Cam Ward, respectively. And now you're adding another onion peel, another layer, another wide receiver. But I love what you said about the Saints.
Wait. Now you have the New York Giants coming up, though. And the Giants, they kept saying it was a lot of steam.
And we're not talking about Cleveland.
We're not talking about Cleveland. There was a lot of steam that the Giants may take a wide receiver. Makai Lemon would be a really, really interesting fit to play off of Malik Neighbors from a commentary. If Makai Lemon went to the Giants, now we're having some discussions, in my opinion, where you could make that case that I would take him over both of the other wide receivers.
Well, there's another path, Pete, where it's a second-year quarterback on a rookie deal, and you're getting that layer. So that's going to be even fun. Another Inception thing to watch if we end up getting that pick for the Giants, because you have Shuck, Ward, and Dart. This would actually buoy, too, Jackson Dart's top 5 quarterback finish in fantasy football potential. He lit it up in fantasy football all last year, and it wasn't just requisite top 12 games. It was high in the top 12 in the ranks on a weekly basis where Jackson Dart was cooking. So if you were to get Makai Lemon, that would be a perfect fit because Malik Neighbors can get up to 180 targets in a given season. But now we have Jackson Dart as QB10. I think he could support enough to make Malik Neighbors viable, especially if Wan'Dale Robinson was viable. We talk about back-to-back 90 reception seasons. Makai Lemon can absolutely push right in there and get more from an efficiency standpoint, from a deeper yard standpoint. People just think that maybe Lemon is just a slot merchant. Yeah, so much more to his game. Pete, how do you feel about the versatility and the improvement if it were to be Lemon versus somebody like Wan'Dale Robinson?
Yeah, I mean, you would be getting a player that like you said has more versatility. And the interesting thing is when we talk about Malik Neighbors, like it feels like everybody keeps, when we think like, oh, like wide receiver can't go there because then he's got to compete with Malik Neighbors and the stock is way down. But Wan'Dale Robinson next to Malik Neighbors,
Yes.
okay? Malik's rookie year, Wan'Dale Robinson started to break out during Malik's rookie year, and Malik had a crazy rookie season where he had, was it over 150 targets as a rookie or somewhere around that, 130, maybe a little bit more? So, like,
he could have paced for near 200 targets if he didn't miss his games with a concussion.
Right, and we saw that happen with worse quarterback play. So now you factor in Jackson Dart, right? Another year forward, right? We know it's a realistic possibility that he can or they can support two wide receivers getting a lot of volume. And the thing about Mekhi Lemon and Malik Neighbors, they are two guys that can create after the catch. To verify, the year for Malik Neighbors as a rookie, 170 targets. And we know that Wan'Dale Robinson had over 130 that year. So we know that there are targets to be had. Now, ironically enough, we're talking about three teams that have three quarterbacks that are all going into year two.
Yep.
So it is nice to see. Now, the Giants obviously haven't made this move, and we're talking hypotheticals until we see the next landing spot for one of these offensive weapons. But it would be fun to see the Giants take a wide receiver because we're seeing those assets at the quarterback position getting more assets to raise the floor of their offenses and also give a bump up to those quarterbacks.
And low key with Malik Neighbors, if he's going to miss the first month or have a slow start, there's a viability to a rookie receiver going in there to New York. It's funny enough, though, because you have Jordan Tyson, who just a week ago, people were steaming up for him to go to the New York Giants. So now Jordan Tyson is off the board, and you've got Mekhi Lemon, who's still available. So it should be interesting. Another team, Pete, for me would be the Rams. Did you see something, Pete?
No, I thought you were going to say the Miami Dolphins, who are right behind them.
They are 11. They are 11. And talk to me. Is that bullish or bearish? Is it junk volume?
I think it's junk volume, but volume's volume, and all we care about is points. I mean, that's why people didn't want Wan'Dale Robinson for a long time because they said, the yards per reception couldn't get much better. The volume's not sustainable, but we saw it be sustainable over 2 years. But we're going to kick it over to the guys on the couch, the Podfather, and let's see what they have to say.
Pick is in.
Pick is big. We're working on them.
You're working on them. Everyone in the chat says you need to work on the mic. Everyone says my mic game is perfect because I'm the Podfather, and the pick is in. The pick is in. The pick is in. Francis Maui Noah is a giant. It is not. It is not Downs.
It's not Caleb Downs.
Caleb Downs. We had Caleb Downs. That was the consensus of the draft house. We all had Caleb Downs. I was 75%.
Many people had him at 5.
I know. So many had him mocked at 5. I had him mocked at 10 because he's a safety, and I was like, it's a rare thing that a safety is going to go at 5, and the Giants have a lot of needs. So I was feeling confident, but no, it's actually the need that every team has, and it's the pick that I would have made if I was the NFL GM of the New York Giants. So good job by Joel Shane. Joel Shane, good job.
No, because Harbaugh's in charge of the draft room.
Oh, Harbaugh's doing it now.
Yeah.
So what is Shane's role? Is it Joel or Joe or Shane?
Joe Shane.
Is it Joe Shane?
Yeah, I think they have a chair set up in the corner for him.
Yeah.
Joe Shane's over in this corner chair.
I have been pronouncing his name wrong for 2 years because he's an irrelevant person and he needs to lead the league as soon as possible. And now he's just a spectator in his own draft room.
Yep.
And Harbaugh finally comes in, an adult in the room at long last, making the right move, the chalk move, a very Ravens pick by the Giants. So, hey, if you're a Giants fan, this is incredible news. This is a signal that this team is focusing on the right details. Great pick.
I look at this and I say, man, if you watched Miami this last year, you could. It was impossible not to see what a force Maui Noah was. right? Like he is just an awesome player, and the whole thing was like, you know, him, Fano, like both of them. It was like, well, are they right tackles? Are they left tackles? You know, whatever. Both right tackles in college. Fano has some left tackle experience.
Is right tackle important in the NFL?
Well, I mean, ask the Eagles and ask Lane
He's
Johnson.
gonna play right guard, right? Like off the rip, they just paid Illuminor a contract.
They just gave Illuminor. Is that only, like, I don't know the exact details of that contract. Is that, can they get out of that after 1 year?
Maybe after a year, but
yeah,
I don't know. It's
But the thing about that's the thing about Maui Noah. It's like, man, guard, it's easy because the difference between, like, whenever you watch Maui Noah in the run game, especially in some of those games when they got, what's his name, Fletcher.
Mark Fletcher, running back, yeah.
Like whenever they got Fletcher going, when you saw Maui Noah in closed spaces, the same kind of spaces that he would be dealing with as an offensive guard, this dude, he gets his hands on you, he is dominant. And so, my main thing is, like, I can't believe that they didn't take Caleb Downs.
So speaking of Caleb Downs, we have a trade.
Have traded up for Caleb Downs.
Dallas moved up one spot to get the superstar safety from Ohio State, Caleb Downs.
Do we know that that's the pick, or are we just saying?
I just told you it was the pick.
So that's the pick.
I had that, and I changed it to the Giants.
That was a pick. I mean, a lot of people out there put Downs on Dallas,
man.
But to me, it never made a ton of sense that he would fall that far. But he fell that far. It's a positional thing. We saw Kyle Hamilton fall to 14 a couple of years ago and go to Baltimore. We've heard the Caleb Downs stuff about how great he is and how elite he is. And
so
Miami
didn't. They just probably wanted to switch 4th round picks or whatever, and they didn't care about Caleb Downs.
I will be interested. Okay, so here's the picks. It's not even that good. So again, this is a team that has 7 selections into the top 100, right?
Yeah.
They get pick 177 and 180 to move back.
So they just didn't want Caleb Downs.
Just 2 5th rounders. 2 5th rounders to move back one spot.
I'm not sure how I feel about John Eric Sullivan. Unless I mean, for Downs to still be here in this spot and you just give him away for a couple of nothing burger picks and a bad draft.
Who do they want?
Who do they want?
Going to pick?
Bain. It has to be Bain.
It's got to be the hometown kid, Ruben.
The hometown kid has to be Bain.
Yeah, well,
Miami Central to Miami to Miami.
Man, I've just been watching John Eric Sullivan's press conferences this week, and he talks about how, you know, he talks about how you know, speed gets slower and all the rest of this stuff. Like, size doesn't get slower. We want size. We want big guys. We want physical, right? Proctor might make sense.
I don't think it's terrible.
They have all the needs in the world.
Anand, you want to come talk about Caleb Downs for a second? So you are our resident Ohio Stadium. I'll give you this mic here. You come over here. And we saw, obviously, Haight, Reese, Styles, and now Downs. What do we think about Caleb Downs falling to 11? The idea that he falls to 11, did you think it was a fall? Like, we put him on the Giants at 5 and 10. It's kind of been a consensus, but Dallas really felt like the glass floor for Caleb Downs.
Yeah, I mean, we thought that no matter what, he wouldn't get past pick 12. They traded up to take him at 11. So I can't say that I'm entirely surprised. Safety, apparently not that valuable, but we'll take a running back because that's what we're doing in this draft. So
that's what
everything
NFL
can
owners
get
are doing in
fucked.
this draft.
So, I mean, I thought he was the best player in the draft. I thought he was the best of the Buckeyes. I thought, you know, he was the best player in America that might not have been his teammate in Jeremiah Smith. So, for Dallas to get him at 11, I mean, we heard that they wanted Styles. We heard that they wanted Downs. There were talks that they might trade as high as 4 or 5. You know, this is one of those scenarios where
Dallas gets exactly what they wanted. And I think they had to only give up 177 and 180 to get him. So, I mean, to lock in your guy, that seems like a small price to pay. And Miami still has their pick, knowing what Dallas is going to do with 11. So, Alex, what are your thoughts?
I'm just looking at the board moving forward, and I'm thinking to myself,
All right, Maddie, we're back here, and we just saw Caleb Downs go at the board at pick 11 after a trade up. Miami's on the clock. Miami's got the pick here. Bain, we're looking at as the best available player on the board right now. Other options for the Miami Dolphins. I mean, we're talking about anything. What's best available? Oliva Vega, you want a guard? Yeah, you want something.
He's nasty.
You want something talented. That's what your best offensive lineman available right now. I think Ruben Bain makes the most sense in the world for the Miami Dolphins, go from Miami Central to Miami and then to the Miami Dolphins potentially.
I mean, this is team building that just gets you excited because you at the 11th pick and you make the phone call to Jerry Jones and you say, I'm taking your guy. And he goes, no, you're not. You say, I'm taking your guy. And you are able to convince him to give you extra DC to move back one selection and probably still take the guy you were always going to take. This is awesome. If you're a Dolphins fan, this is very encouraging because what you have now witnessing is a team builder that's seasoned, comes from an organization that knows what they're doing, especially when it comes to draft capital, when it comes to draft maneuvering, when it comes to kind of bullying other teams. This is a good move for the Dolphins. Cowboys are excited. They get the guy. They get Caleb Downs. They get their safety, their true playmaker, guy that's going to sell jerseys, the guy that's going to don the star and the helmet. But if you're a Dolphins fan, you're very, very, very excited for the move. Get extra DC, and now you can still walk away with just an absolute beast, hometown kid, homegrown Miami boy.
Where did you send Caleb Downs? Did you put him on the Giants as well?
I had him to the Cowboys. So Mr. Matt Kelly, I'm back on the board.
Back in the board, baby.
Back in the board,
back in the conversation. Not quite in top 10 like myself and Matt, but
it is early, boys.
It's early, but I do have Ruben Bain going to the Miami Dolphins. So if I get Ruben Bain right here, I'm going to be slightly a happy camper. I'm waiting for this pick to come in. And what's on my mind, Maddie, is the Rams. Because we saw them move back one spot. We haven't heard a trade since. We're waiting and waiting and waiting on the Dolphins. But the Rams are at 13.
Yeah.
We've heard the Ty Simpson stuff. We heard all this aggression around the last 12 hours about,
seriously.
Schrager comes out 4 hours ago and says, I put him in. I didn't have him in. And then I put him in at 32. And then all these general managers told me, you're too low. You're way off. Actually, they didn't say you're way low. They said you're way off.
Way off.
So way off to me was like, watch out for the top 15. Or maybe he's straight up late second, like early third. Like maybe.
Quarterbacks don't go in the second. So if Ty Simpson does not go tonight, we're talking about a guy that might go late day 2. I mean, remember a few years ago, Malik Willis.
We just got the picks coming.
Dude, you can't be waving your arms like that because you're getting me excited.
This
it's night of one of the draft. You can't get your boy this pumped up.
This one might be a shocker. Sources are saying this one might be a shocker. If it's not Bain, and you just traded back one spot, and you're the Miami Dolphins, and you have 7 picks in the top 100, now just added a couple more on day 3 in that 177, 178, which, I mean, this roster needs more than any other roster in the sport right now.
Yeah.
I just don't. What is your thought? What's your thought process right here with this pick? I mean, this is a team that literally is a roster that should be like drafting number 1 or number 2 overall. You should be in that situation.
Yeah.
You're not. You got Malik Willis. You have a lot of holes. You could go edge. You could go. Could you go quarterback?
Yeah, you could theoretically go quarterback, because you're not playing for this year. So if you do want to develop a quarterback, you get him in the building now. And we've seen this year after year after year. When free agency comes, you bring someone in, he's Don, the next guy. But then when the draft rolls around, you pick a player, and that player takes the reins. We've seen it time and time and time again. Is that what you're telling me is happening or not? Because you're looking down at the old telefono. I'm not. I don't know what you're talking. I'm trying to read you right now, but I don't know where you're going with this. Where are you going with this?
I don't know. I'm saying it's a very interesting spot where we have multiple players in Bain, in
Vega.
Sadiq, in Vega, in Lemon that are all sitting there, and you also have Simpson. I think the Simpson thing is a wild card right now that I think would shock me, but
well, here's the thing about Simpson. If the noise of Simpson to the Rams has validity, then every other team in the NFL that has interest in Ty Simpson is now feeling what they call in the biz pressure, right? You now have to maybe put up or shut up, because if the noise around the Rams wanting Simpson is for real, which it sounds like it might be. I mean, we saw, McShay had him go there. There's some real hype around the Rams sniffing around Ty Simpson. This dates back, right? Sometimes, what do we always say about the draft, Cody?
FLAT circle.
It is a flat circle. And we saw this early. The Rams were in on Simpson when they had the 29th pick. They were potentially in on him when they had the 13th pick. So if the NFL, these team builders are realizing the Rams are not bluffing. They want Simpson. We want Simpson. This 12th pick becomes crazy valuable. And it's just another example of the new regime in Miami having a grasp on how to push this thing around. It's pretty sick. Also, shout out Jared Dean, shout out chat. I am looking clean. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. Appreciate all you guys tuning and tapping in. The best draft coverage in the fantasy space, bar none. Shout out to Matt Kelly for putting this together. Hey, I give Matt a lot of crap, and he gives me a lot of crap, but this is fantastic. We're having a lot of fun tonight, chat.
The first draft pick in this new regime of John Eric Sullivan, Jeff Hafley, is none other than the big man from Bama, Caden Proctor.
Ooh.
The name we didn't bring up in those Bain, Vega, Lemon, Sadiq. It's Caden Proctor, the 352-pound
monster
of a human being, monster of an athlete. And as Nick Saban said today on Pat McAfee, if you can get the guy to come to practice, you're going to get the guy in shape. You know what I don't know? I don't know if Miami's the best spot, because there was once an offensive lineman from a state that I grew up in, Minnesota, that went to Cretin-Durham Hall. His name was Sontrell Henderson.
Okay.
And he was a large offensive tackle.
Okay.
And he went to Miami to play for the Hurricanes. And you've never heard of him.
No.
And he was a 5-star.
You said his name pretty well, though.
Because Miami will swallow you.
Miami's not for the weak of heart.
It's for the tame.
You have to dial in.
It's not for the wild. We're sitting at 13. The Rams are up. And this is what we call the flat circle of the NFL draft.
Mm-hmm.
The flat circle of the NFL draft comes and goes.
Mm-hmm.
We hear it in December. It fades in January. It's gone by February. By March, you start to hear it trickle back in. People say, nah, that's all BS. It ain't actually going to happen. The draft is officially a flat circle because with the 13th overall pick in the NFL draft, the Los Angeles Rams have the quarterback of the future in Ty Simpson from Alabama.
I am the ruler. I am the mountain you cannot climb. But no, I'm back in the game when it comes to Huddle Report. But excuse my excitement there. I was getting picked on quite often tonight. But, they say never go full McShay. I went full McShay. It worked out. But I want to talk about Proctor and why Proctor was a good pick. Because what did we say about this offensive line class? It's good. But there's not many guys that could be your foundational left tackle. But what did we say? If you can turn Proctor, if you can develop the kid, this is a guy who could be your foundational left tackle. We're talking about an uber athlete, 5-star high school prospect, a guy who got better and better and better every year at Alabama. If you believe that you can get him in the building and you can develop this guy, we might be looking back on this draft being like, how did Caden Proctor fall out of the top 10? Because 6'7", 350 that takes snaps under center and scores touchdowns, those guys don't grow on trees. So shout out to the Dolphins to take a big swing. And Anand's been saying this all the last couple of days here at the Draft House, that if you're a team that's not a competitor, if you're a team that needs a lot to go your way over these next 2 or 3 years to be competitive, why take swings on singles? Why swing for doubles? Sit back on your heels and swing for the fences. That's what the Dolphins did. I think that was a good pick by them. I like Vega. I think he's a nasty player. But again, if you're looking for a high ceiling guard or a high ceiling tackle, you go the tackle route if you're the Dolphins. So I think that was a good pick. But it's time to start talking a little bit about Ty Simpson.
The quarterbacks that have gone off the board in this area generally in history haven't been great results. But the one thing I'll say is if you go back to 2017 when Pat Mahomes went 10 and Deshaun Watson went 12, the player that went one spot ahead of them was John Ross to the Bengals. Right. And that was a guy,
the cheetah,
who's an outlier.
Yeah.
Proctor's an outlier. I don't like taking outliers with these max picks. The only reason that I put Proctor in the Browns for the longest time, I don't even think I ended it. I put Fano there. I got it right. But the reason that you put Proctor in the Browns is because that name was connected to the Browns for so long. But it was never the right process to take Proctor right there. The right process if you're the Dolphins. And I get this. I understand that this team has a lot of needs, but you take Simpson there.
Do you have Simpson to the Rams?
No.
Oh. Of course I did.
Maddie
Of
did.
course I did. Your boy's back in the game.
Maddie's officially back in the game.
Anyone have Bane to the Ravens?
Bane to the Ravens, the most Ravens player in the draft.
Don't want to jinx it.
The most Raven guy in the draft. But I want to talk about Tyson. We got to keep talking about Tyson because this is a monumental pick. Because this is the Rams saying that even though we're a contender, we were dubbed the best team in the NFL last year, we're willing to get a player that may not even do one single thing for this current roster. That's how highly they evaluated Ty Simpson.
It always made sense.
It always made sense.
It made a lot of sense to me in my head with the Rams to move up if you wanted to get a Styles. But they've never drafted a linebacker in the top 85.
Right.
It made sense to go offensive tackle because your offensive tackle since Whitworth retired, it's fallen off a little bit. And next year you lose a contract. You put Freeling in there. You put Proctor in there. Whatever the situation was, you look good. The idea that you would go Simpson is the thing that made the most sense a year ago because we heard the Matthew Stafford stuff come out. He might retire. He could retire. The back injury this, the back injury that. Remember, and then he gets cleared. And you're like, well, I guess we're good. I guess he's going to play. And he played. And he was fine. He bailed him out.
Yeah.
And now you look at it, you're going into 2026 with a roster that's ready to compete for a Super Bowl. And to go into the season with a Stetson Bennett level quarterback as your backup is not sound process if you're a Super Bowl winning intended team.
We just got news from the room that kind of melted our mind. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but stay tuned. You're going to want to hear this. But let's back to Simpson.
My finishing thought on the Simpson thing is it made sense because it's a roster that has this is the luxury pick.
This is the luxury
This
pick.
is the James Pierce luxury pick.
Right.
You used pick 29 and you traded it
for McDuffie.
And you got a starting cornerback. McDuffie or Mansour Delane today?
McDuffie.
Okay, and you got him at 29. And then at 13, because you trade this pick from last year from Super Bowl winning.
This is what they call Super Bowl winning GM Terry Fontenot.
And now you put Ty Simpson in here and you get the free swing. What you get the free swing in is you get to bring in a coach's kid to learn this offense from McVay and to sit behind Stafford for a full calendar year.
Yep. Maybe 2.
But you get a full calendar year. So hear me out here. And you can find out if he sucks. You know, the
you'll
thing
see
about Kellen Mond in Minnesota, who's a mid-round pick, is that, and I'm using him for this exact reason. Mike Zimmer would tell you if you go to the press
look it up.
conferences,
Yeah.
There's a press conference availability where a reporter is like, why haven't we seen Kellen Mond? Your quarterback plays things. Can we see Kellen Mond? And he goes, no, I see Kellen Mond every single day. And so McVay gets to see Ty Simpson every single day. And so for a calendar year, he'll get to see the growth. He'll get to see what happens. And then if he sucks and if he really can't throw the out route and he really sucks and he's 195 pounds, whatever happens, you can come back next year and you can draft a quarterback in what could be the world's greatest quarterback class.
So we're getting news here. While we're buying time.
We're talking quarterback. We'll bring the Ravens pick in a minute, but there's quarterback news.
There's a lot of quarterback news. And if you're familiar with Kalshi, predictive markets, some money's coming in recently, a lot of money actually, on a third quarterback entering the first round. We're not going to say the name, because we want to make sure everyone that's hanging out keeps hanging out. We'll talk about it later. But first of all, thank you guys hanging out. This is so much fun. But there's a quarterback that you may or may not have heard that could now be a first-round pick. But also, we don't – this is also a thing. Side note. This is the first draft where Kalshi's this big.
Yes.
We don't know the correlation between predictive markets and actual reality, correct?
Yeah.
So we don't know if this is Fugazi. So we don't want to drop the name. We don't want to be, we don't put, put the horse before the cart before the horse. So we're going to talk about what's happening. But it seems as if there's been a lot of movement on a third quarterback getting into round one, which could potentially.
And his name's not Cole Payton.
It's not Cole Payton. It's a guy that exactly what you're getting from. That's why I just cannot imagine this guy being a first round pick. But anyway, we talked about Caden Proctor.
The pick is in with the Baltimore Ravens at pick 14, the masters of value, the Baltimore Ravens and the Philadelphia Eagles. Who makes the most sense here at pick 14? Well, who's the best available? Ruben Bain and Olavide Vega. Ioane.
Yep.
You want a guard?
You want a guard? I want a guard.
I think Mr. DaCosta wants a guard. So he's going to get Olavide Vega, Ioane, right guard out of Penn State. Is that going to be the third offensive lineman now? So we had Fano, Maui Noah, Proctor, and now Ioane.
The run's happening. We're officially in the midst of the offensive line run.
Correct. So scroll up there. So
we have 3 tackles in a guard now.
So we've had Fano, Maui Noah,
Proctor,
Downs, Proctor, Simpson, Ioane.
Yep.
So that's now 4 offensive linemen in 6 picks.
Mm-hmm.
And you're looking at a spot here with Tampa and then the Jets where you're in clean trade territory because you've seen 4 guys come off the board already, and they're the first 4 that were expected to come off the board. Then it becomes the Monroe Freeling, the Blake Miller, the Ian Achor kind of category.
Yep.
So we got Bain. We're on Bain watch.
And
Tampa may just run this thing up faster than anybody's ever seen.
They may. Or they may not, because you have to shop this.
No.
You have to see if someone's willing to give you a king's ransom for Bain.
The Jets are going to take him at 16 if you don't take him.
No, I agree. But that's my point.
Yeah.
Is the fact that now you're sitting here at 15
yeah.
with a player on the board that was mocked potentially in the top 5 a couple months ago. This is a spot in the draft you weren't expecting. A lot of people, myself included, well, not this iteration, but in the past, I thought Mesidor, his teammate, was a good fit for Tampa. And now we're looking at not Mesidor, but Ruben Bain. So you have to shop it, but they also could just do, a straight Usain Bolt-esque sprint to the podium. Get that guy on their team.
Alex had Ioane.
I had a Ioane.
Did you?
Of course I did.
Let's do a huddle. Let's do a huddle report update.
A little refresher.
So the huddle report update puts us in Podfather, 26 points. Todd McShay, 26 points. Todd McShay came from he was buried.
They say never go for McShay, but I did too.
I believe I have 24 points. So Matt is in the lead by 2. And then we have,
I'm 47.
Matty was.
I had the only to the Ravens after all.
Matty was 40. Matty's 47 with 23 points. And then Alex Dunlap has 22 points. So 26, 24,
we're
23,
on the top. We're on the top 70, boys.
We're all within
It's almost like we
points
know
of each other.
what we be talking about.
The Podfather is top 10. He is indeed top 10.
But let's talk about Vega. Let's also talk about Vega and the implications.
Yes!
Let's talk about Vega.
All right.
Because we know he's the nastiest offensive lineman in this class. If we look back in 2 years and then one of these linemen is an all-pro, the betting favorite might be Vega. What does this mean for Derrick Henry? What does this mean for Lamar Jackson? What does this mean for Jesse Minter and the new regime putting together, bringing in a guy in? They lost a very valuable piece on their offensive line, their center. Now they bring in not a center, but they bring in a nice guard, someone that's going to come in right away and make a difference.
Well, so first of all, yes, you lose Linderbaum, which is massive.
Massive.
But what you also gave away was Falele to the Giants, who now is going to be replaced by Maui Noah, who's your right guard last year. You got John Simpson, a veteran from the Jets, that I think John Simpson probably works out at center. Andrew Voorhees works out at center. Corey Bullock is there at center right now. Like, you have a working situation at center. Best man takes the job. And then you plug Vega in at right guard next to Rosengarten and you cook. I don't think this changes a ton if you comp last year's team to this year's team as far as the offensive line goes.
Because you can't, even as much as we love Vega, he does not elevate the offensive line to the level of Linderbaum.
Well, yeah, he's taking the spot of the second best center in the league,
Right.
third best center
The
in the league.
highest paid center in the league.
Yeah, well, yes, but it doesn't really elevate the entire thing like some outrageous level. Like I think you still look at the idea that Ronnie Stanley's getting a year older, and Derrick Henry's getting a year older.
Right.
So from a fantasy perspective, I think it's hold, it holds the line for you, and it gives you some clarity of just like, all right, well, this offensive line's not going to suck. Like, but that always made sense that it wasn't going to,
No, and the Ravens, this is what they do. They sit back, they don't get too excited, and they just let really good players fall to them. I mean, do you think, though, let me ask you this, Cody. You're putting yourself in the shoes of DeCosta. You're putting your shoes in the team builders of the Ravens, and you're sitting there. Vega was probably your plan A.
Had to be.
Right. Plan A.
Yeah.
The sticky note under the keyboard, Vega no matter what. But then you see Bain there. How much do you make the consideration to pivot? Like, what is your thoughts there? Because Vega's good. There's probably not a bigger pair of Vega fans than the two guys at this main desk right now. But
I don't
if
think
Bain was there,
I don't think there's any.
you don't think, you think they stuck to the plan. They were going to go Vega if he was there, no matter what.
Yes.
Yeah, which I think that's a good process.
The pick is in. The pick is in for the
Tampa Bay
Buccaneers, and again, just like Baltimore, you had to sprint this ticket up to the counter because it was what you. And it was Ruben Bain.
Yeah.
And you got your edge. We saw a lot of Akeem Mesidor mocked to Tampa Bay, and ends up being Ruben Bain, who stays in the state of Florida and goes to Tampa. And I'll be honest with you, if I'm the Jets sitting the next pick, I'm like, could you imagine?
Bailey and Bain. And you know what's even funny about that?
I would have
I think I would have been. They must have been on the phone. They have so many.
I'm sure
picks.
Tampa's like, no.
Yeah. That's on. Oh, you want Bain? Oh, so do we.
Give me next year
So
first.
do
And
we.
they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Bye.
Give us Garrett Wilson.
Hang up the phone. So
great pick by the Buccaneers.
Elite pick by the Buccaneers here. They get the edge, and we see value come up the board back to back here at pick 15. So now we're looking at the Jets. This is where I have a very interesting feeling because we were told that there was going to be all this movement, and all the movement we've had is the Chiefs go up 3 spots to get Delane,
and Dallas went up 1 spot.
And Dallas went up 1 spot, and it's like we're sitting here at 16.
They got bamboozled
a
little
bit. We're at a spot because Detroit's picking at 17, and in theory, the Jets don't go tackle.
Right, so they got their guy,
and the Lions are just sitting back, arms crossed. Are we going to get Freeling?
Sounds like.
Are we going to get Blake Miller? Are we going to get Ian Achor? Depending on who their top guy is, like they kind of just have their option.
Right.
And I see a team at 23.
This is the move up spot.
That's the move up spot.
This is the move up
This
spot.
is the move up spot. That makes all the sense. And this is how the Jets and Darren Muji, this is how you be creative. This is how you add additional picks. They're picking at 16. They also have 33 and 44 into the top 100. They pick at 103. So it's 16, 33, 44. If you're Philly, like this is a massive spot for you. You pick at 54, 68, 98 after the 23rd pick. You got plenty of ammunition right there. You got to move up 7 spots. It's a big move, but it's something I think Howie, if he feels aggressive enough about it, I think he's looking at Detroit, who needs an offensive lineman.
That's right.
I think you're looking
Carolina.
I think you're looking at Carolina, who's an interesting spot.
Pittsburgh.
I think Pittsburgh is a glaring spot. Chargers is interesting.
Spot.
It's a big ask to wait 7 picks.
Yes.
It's a situation where everyone always says, if you hear these GMs talk about each other, Howie calls everybody about everything.
You got to stay active. Grinder.
And you got to stay active. And Muji's been a guy that McShay even talked about the other day. McShay's like, I've been friends with this guy for 25 years. And how much he respects Roseman and stuff. I think this is a very interesting spot that could potentially be a move back, but it's not. Because they do what the Raiders did. The Raiders drafted 2nd round pick Michael Mayer. They come back the following year and they get Brock Bowers. The New York Jets have drafted a weapon. His name's not Mekhi Lemon. It's not Casey Concepcion. They have drafted tight end from Oregon, Kenyon Sadiq.
As a Patriots fan, I'm happy about that because that doesn't really help. And you know what? I wanted to just put a pin on the talk of the trade, and then we're gonna kick it to the fantasy desk because we got some fantasy stuff.
If you guys look at what's on the screen, there's 175 participants in this contest, and your boy's in 6th place.
Look who he's right next to, Matty Schrager.
Matty Oh, no wonder why their mocks are so. We don't talk about him. We don't talk about
Mike
Voldemort.
Band.
But I just want to put a pin on this. I just want to put a quick pin on this. This is why the Jets do Jets things.
Yeah.
They could have moved back, and why moving back with the Eagles? And I don't know if there's a trade on the board, so maybe I'm just speaking out of my keister. But the reason why you move back, Kenyon Sadiq is on the board potentially, if not Mekhi Lemon at 23, because the team in terms of pass catcher that you were trying to avoid is the Browns.
Yeah.
You could have moved back, gained assets, still got a pass catcher. Instead, you get another tight end, which, you know, this guy's electric. This guy is a really good athlete, but is Kenyon Sadiq the difference maker for the New York Jets?
We'll find out.
I guess we'll find out.
Let's kick it over to Fantasy Boys.
All right, Jeremiah. Kenyon Sadiq to the Jets. Mason Taylor has quite the competition heading into this room. Now it's really Garrett Wilson, Kenyon Sadiq. What are your thoughts about this landing spot for Sadiq? I mean, I was convinced he was going to go to the Panthers. That's what we talked about a couple minutes prior to this pick. Now he finds his way to the Jets. How are we feeling about this?
I'm really thrown off for the fact that Mekhi Lemon is still available. And you had the New York Jets. Omar Cooper was projected so many times at this pick for the Jets. And now you have Mekhi Lemon was available, and that falling knife is going to continue to sink. So Kenyon Sadiq, 12 personnel. You and I initially reacted, oh, this is going to torch Mason Taylor. But actually, the more I think about it, Pete, Mason Taylor and Sadiq may be a good tandem in bulk together. But for fantasy football purpose, I think this is going to siphon things off for them. This is going to be not so much what you want for Kenyon Sadiq. I am going to avoid Kenyon Sadiq in the middle of round 1 where he has been going. I would rather see him slide to the back part of round 1. It'll be interesting to see the landing spot that Stowers gets, and this might give more credibility to Stowers usurping somebody like Kenyon Sadiq. I know Johnny Tuma is very high on Eli Stowers, so we will keep that in mind. What do you make of what's gone on? Kenyon Sadiq, are you sitting there thinking it should be Lemon?
Yeah, I'm a little confused with the Jets here. I mean, look, I understand Sadiq's there. It's enticing, but Mekhi Lemon kind of falling to your lap. I would have much preferred to pair him up with Garrett Wilson. I mean, this is coming from a guy who really liked Mason Taylor coming into last year's draft, right? He finds his way to the Jets. And honestly, I think Mason Taylor looked pretty good for the Jets. So I think this is kind of like a situation where, yes, Sadiq does get first round capital here, but I don't think it's like, hey, he's just going to like command a bunch of targets. At best, Kenyon Sadiq is what? Third best option on this offense in the passing game, because you can't forget about Breece Hall, who has been a massive weapon in the pass game for this offense. And obviously you have Garrett Wilson. So with Sadiq, I mean, you're looking at a guy who coming into this draft, 108 was kind of the projection for him for where he would be ranked in rookie drafts. And I got news for you. Like, I am somebody who does not take tight ends very high, especially if it's not a tight end premium fantasy dynasty league, unless it's a premium. Like I don't know. I'm just not really in love with this landing spot. I would have preferred, him to go to a team like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I would have liked him to go to a team like the Carolina Panthers. And when we talk about Kenyon Sadiq pre-rankings, Jeremiah, he was sandwiched in between Kyle Pitts and Oronde Gadsden. Do you still see him there between those two guys, or do you have them ahead of him?
I'm going to have to put Kyle Pitts, who is number 7 in our tight end rankings in Dynasty, over Sadiq. Oronde Gadsden, give me him with Mike McDaniels. That's such a more bullish spot. I'm even thinking about what could be the bounce back for somebody like Sam Laporta.
I'll have Sam Laporta ahead of him.
And it'll be unadulterated. There is no Mason Taylor against Sam Laporta. So I think that's the inflection point that you start weighing against. It's not just not Stowers, Sadiq versus these other tight ends 1-for-1. It is the pushing against Mason Taylor where it gets difficult. Eli Stowers is still out there. Are you more tempted if we tier down to 13, 14, Jake Ferguson and Brenton Strange? Do you think their junk volume, be it they're a little bit lower in our rankings, would you prefer, you're in a startup, another player at another position than Kenyon Sadiq and go later with somebody like Ferguson and Brenton Strange? Is there more value there as you take on some of your dynasty startups?
Yeah, I mean, the truth is, in a dynasty startup like Kenyon Sadiq, let's just assume he's like a 108, 110 area type of player coming in after people take time to kind of digest this. Let's just say that's the range. In a startup for dynasty, like you're talking about, what, like rounds 7 to 9, where that pick is probably going to go off of the board, where people draft their actual rights to select in that rookie draft in the future. And to me, Jake Ferguson, I really like. You're getting Ferguson at an extremely good value, right? I just drafted a startup last week in a tight end premium, and Jake Ferguson still did not go in the top 10 rounds. And this is a guy who finds himself in an offense that we know he's got an established role. He's in an offense that's very good, pushes the ball down the field and loves to throw the ball to the tight end. You're paying a premium on most tight ends in fantasy football, and I think we're going to probably see the same on Sadiq, who gets top 20 capital, who people say this is a team that does not have a lot of weapons, and Sadiq's probably going to get pushed up. And I just don't find myself wanting to invest very high in a player like this who had some question marks in his college profile as well. And honestly, it's going to be really interesting to see where Eli Stowers goes. If Eli Stowers finds himself with the Kansas City Chiefs, who has been a landing spot many have talked about, right? Do we see Stowers being ahead of him on consensus rankings?
Absolutely. You have to take that bullish landing spot. And for an archetype of fantasy football, look, I see it as like a Jordan Reed type in Eli Stowers. So if you're going to get a bullish spot versus this siphoning off against Mason Taylor with Geno Smith, and it's, hey, they say in Big Daddy, the goddamn Jets. It's a bad situation. You want Eli Stowers. So I'm seeing just this tightening of Eli Stowers, and the pick hasn't even gone in. Where Sadiq, I see it as, if you like Kenyon Sadiq, I think you're going to get a dip here in your rookie drafts and in startups. I don't see how tight end 8 overall, as we have in the rankings now, stays. I see Sadiq falling. And again, I'm perplexed, Pete, by how do we not have Mekhi Lemon drafted so far?
Right, we'll take it over here. All right, we're going to
Lions, let's go. Come on.
a couple of thoughts. You got a pretty good draft so far, so let's see what you think. How things are going.
A pretty good draft. So there's been a lot of comments. We've read them all. That the couch has a static problem with the microphones. We're doing a test. We believe we have I've been troubleshooting behind the scenes. The testing was fine before the show, and I think the one thing that we realized that was different between the production setup and the test setup was the proximity of the Rode receiver to the mics themselves. So we're going to try that. This is going to be a very brief couch visit. I am the GM of the Jets. They drafted a guy who they did not visit with. They canceled his visit and then they drafted him anyway, which I think was idiotic because they could have easily had him in and then he failed the interview and then they could have pivoted, but they didn't do that. They didn't give him the chance to
David Bailey was never going to fail the interview.
I know he wasn't going to fail the interview, but I'm just saying.
This is a kid that came from Stanford.
You have an opportunity to talk to a player. Why wouldn't you take it? You have 30 players you can talk to. To me,
because
because
you knew the whole time you were taking him.
It was strategic chicanery, and I thought it was unnecessary. We knew that they were doing it. I happen to be, yes, I knew some of these picks cold, which is why I'm in the top 10 out of 175 mock drafters. I am beating most of the more well-known mock drafters that you all know and love at ESPN and NFL Network.
Dude,
and all these places.
we are halfway through this draft,
and he's drafting Sadiq. The GM of the Jets is drafting Sadiq at a position they did not need. They have so many needs. They're in rebuilding mode, and they're drafting an athletic playmaker tight end, which they can get in free agency. They can get in the following years.
No, you can't get Sadiq
that
in
was
free
a
agency.
bad pick. And I also didn't like their process, canceling the Bailey interview. And so my early assessment is that the GM of the Jets, his name is Muji, right? It's Muji. He's a bust. And real quick, your thoughts, because we got to get off the couch. This is a test run of the new mic setup.
I have a lot of ways that I can go with it, but I would say like this is the one. If you're right, and this guy, I can't look at you with those glasses on. The
Muji, I'm Muji.
If this is right, and you're right about Kenyon Sadiq being such a bad pick, and
Terrible.
I would have definitely taken Mekhi Lemon right there.
Lemon was the pick. I had Sadiq going to the Panthers. I was alive. Most people had him going to the Buccaneers. I was still alive with Sadiq to the Panthers. So I am bitter about it, and we're going to send it back to the desk with Cody.
Let me just no. Can I finish my thought?
You might. We don't know. You might be full of static. We
If-
have no idea.
I could be, but if you're right,
Are they better now? The comments are saying, "Oh, we're okay. We can keep going."
if you're
I
right,
fixed it.
if you're right,
We fixed the glitch, my friend.
well,
I love road mics. We're not going to give up on these road mics.
but
We are live, and sometimes you have to fix glitches live.
yeah,
And that's what live television is all about. You watch people running around the background. You watch people solving problems. You saw me solving. And by the way, thank you all for sticking with us, even though there was some occasional static that you all were bitching about, making it think it was a big deal. I listened back. It wasn't that big of a deal. But our standards for audio quality are very high. And so you're welcome. Go ahead, Alex.
so and we can send it back to the main desk after this. My thought to you is to say that if Muji, if that's a bad pick and Kenyon Sadiq doesn't come in and he's not a game changer for them, which I think he can be.
He can be, but still a bad pick.
I'm not sure that that's true. Like I think in dynasty rookie drafts, we're talking about a guy that now we're looking at like firmly at the 1-0. Depending on what happens with Casey Concepcion, depending on what happens with Denzel Boston, depending on what happens with Omar Cooper, we're looking at 106.
Well, we're certainly looking at
107,
the under on wide receivers drafted in the first round. That's what we're looking at right
Yeah.
now. And this is Evan Ingram to the Giants all over again, and he did not move the needle with the Giants.
No, that's not true. Look, but I will agree with you that if it turns out that that's a bad one, to where that I can't believe I'm looking at you like this with your eyes like that.
I'm the GM of the Jets.
If the GM of the Jets looks at me like that, I'm firing him on the first time that I ever see it. Dude, those glasses are wild. If it does happen to where Kenyon Sadiq doesn't come in and is a big time difference maker in a spot in this draft where you could draft a big time difference maker.
Big.
I mean, a big time
Big.
Like at that point, it would be super easy for ownership to say, "Look, we're firing Aaron Glenn. We're now at the point where we're bringing in a new quarterback in an awesome 2027 class,
Yeah.
and we're firing the GM.
Okay.
In a clean sweep. Let's send it back to the main desk.
Thank you for this test of the Rode microphone system.
The pick is in for Detroit and Minnesota back to back. The Lions had an opportunity to go tackle here, and that was been a favorite by the Lions. We wondered if someone was going to trade ahead of them to get a Blake Miller, to get a Monroe Freeling from Georgia, to get potentially even Maxi Honachor. They go Blake Miller from Clemson, the right tackle. But the big play here came by way of the Minnesota Vikings at pick 18. The draft has always been a flat circle, like we've told you 10,000 times.
No.
The Minnesota Vikings have drafted, always been, always going to be, never not a first-round pick from Florida, defensive tackle Caleb Banks.
And you know what's funny about this is we were obviously, you know, as you guys know, we were talking about our mock drafts all night yesterday. Tinkering Wednesday was in full effect. And we were talking about D tackle. The Vikings have been chasing a D tackle for years, bringing in free agents, bringing in draft picks. It was a position of need. And I asked Cody, I said, Cody, you're a Vikings guy. You got some inside there. Talk to me about Peter Woods, because I think Peter Woods is a pretty nasty 3 technique. He goes, brother, they don't need a 3 technique.
Need a nose.
They need a They need a nose tackle. They need beef. Well, they went out and got themselves some beef because Caleb Banks is a big nose tackle.
The problem is I said that exact thing to you last night as I was building my mock out. I give them Kenyon Sadiq in the mock.
I told you on that.
And I thought, man, Peter Woods probably isn't the answer.
Nope.
It should be D-tackle. It should be Caleb Banks, 6'6", 35-inch arms, 335 pounds. He's got a foot injury. What came out this last week is that the fact that he's going to be ready for June camp, July camp. He's going to be ready to play. Didn't play much at all this last season. Went down to the Senior Bowl, didn't do a damn thing. And kind of was just annoyingly the biggest human being at the whole event for the whole week. You're like, this dude needs to be like, he needs to have an Aaron Donald. He needs to have a Jermaine Johnson. He needs to have an ass kicker of a week. And he didn't do it. And the foot injury thing, he's going to run sub 4. He's going to run sub 5. He's going to run maybe in the 4.9s, low 4.9s. We'll see what happens. He doesn't. And he falls here. He's a low production the last couple of years. Didn't play a lot last year, but this is a massive, massive play by the Vikings, who went out and got Jonathan Allen last year, Hargraves last year, moved on from both guys. They have a very inexperienced, younger defensive line right now. Jalen Redmond, Levi Drake Rodriguez. You add in a Caleb Banks here. He's an instant starter in this defense, first and foremost. And he was always going to be a first-round pick, and I can't believe the fact that we talked about it last night, and I was like, nah, they'll move up in the second to go get him. But the fact of the matter is, when it's a difference maker, and we talked about this earlier, when it's a difference maker, what always happens in these drafts, especially the first round, is the defensive tackles, the offensive linemen always move up. And so we saw it again here with Caleb Banks, cementing himself back in round 1.
And you know why I really just, you can't forget about this, right? Caleb Banks is one of those players that has his red flags, has his issues, fell out of the first round in a lot of mocks for a good reason. But the fact that he goes 18, the fact that he goes to the Vikings, to a defense that's already really good, the thing that you have to hang your hat on that gets you excited at, when you think about it, Brian Flores said, get me this kid. Brian Flores, who is the best defensive coordinator in football,
one of,
said, if you get me this guy, then
I'm start sweating.
Yeah, well, I mean, the picks come in. They come in.
We got 2 picks in back to back.
Yeah, all right.
And
let's stay focused.
Let's come back to Banks.
Right,
Let's come back.
Chat,
to
give us 2. Let's just chat. Do it with us. Let's recalibrate chat. Okay, everyone, take a second.
Not only pick 19.
I'm ready.
Pick 19. The Carolina Panthers go tackle. They get Monroe Freeland.
Damn good one
from Georgia, a massive offensive lineman. Again, the run continues of linemen.
Yep. My bold prediction: 9 or 10 guys going from the offensive line.
We have a trade.
Ooh. Which again, what do we just keep preaching it to me, Cody? What does we say? The draft's a flat circle. The Cowboys have been trying to trade out of this pick, and they do.
The Eagles are on the clock because they've traded up from 23 to 20, leaping the Chargers and leaping the Steelers. The Philadelphia Eagles have made an aggressive play here to get to the back end of this offensive line run for what I believe will be Maxi Honachor. It's not official yet, but
it's got to be.
That is what I believe. The Eagles now pick at 20, and they gain a 7th-round pick from the Cowboys. The Cowboys now pick at 23, 114, and 137. That is where the Cowboys have moved back to. And so we're waiting for the pick to officially come in on behalf of the Philadelphia Eagles. But I believe that this will be Maxi Honachor from Arizona State.
And this is why we were saying before, right after the Jets made their selection, the reason why the Eagles must have not have been super aggressive moving up was that they didn't think that Monroe Freeling was all that different than Ian Henachor. But then when Freeling comes off the board and there's nobody left, you make the play. So we're seeing the tackle run. It's hot, it's heavy, and these teams need these tackles. These are where the athletes are going.
Do you have the Cowboys sitting here at 20 who don't obviously have an offensive line need? You got Pittsburgh, who's openly talked about the Broderick Jones, the Broderick Jones neck injury. They got Troy Fatanu on the right side. And what? Shut the hell up.
So that is, take what we just said, crumple it up, throw it in the trash.
and throw it out the window.
Throw it in the trash. Actually, you know what, guys? Just forget we said that, chat. Just forget we talked about this. So let's just pick back up. Remember, breaths. Take deep breaths. Let's recalibrate. Okay, we're back in it. Okay.
So the Philadelphia Eagles just traded up to pick 20 ahead of Pittsburgh and the Chargers to draft wide receiver out of USC, Mekhi Lemon.
So they are ready to deal away A.J. Brown, and they are going to give Jalen Hurts two of the shortest statured receiving core in the history of football.
Well, how long did Devontae Smith alpha season last? Unofficially or officially? Because
no, I think it's officially beginning now.
Technically AJ Brown, still on the roster, right?
That's facts.
But people perceive him to be gone June 1.
June 1, yep.
So if it's like Devonta Smith season, right?
Yep.
But now you put Mekhi Lemon in here, who's a Blitnikoff Award winner, and everyone in here believes that he's a 170 target guy that's just gonna
buy the Slim Reaper.
He's a great receiver.
Buy the discount in the Slim Reaper.
Yeah, but no, right?
Buy the discount in Slim Reaper.
Shouldn't this be Mekhi Lemon? Shouldn't Mekhi Lemon just get
He won the Blitnikoff, as you mentioned, getting some of the worst stats the award has ever seen. Meanwhile, the other guy won a Heisman Trophy win, with 1,800 receiving yards, and has done it in the NFL for years. This is official. We are officially in Slim Reaper season. But Howie Roseman moved up. Talk to me about the difference here of going with what feels like a luxury pick over getting a guy like Ian Henachor. What does that say about the Eagles and what they're planning to do in 2026?
Well, they're planning to move off of A.J. Brown.
That sounds right.
They're planning to keep the ball around the line of scrimmage because they brought back Goddard. They got Mekhi Lemon now. It's less about stretching. I mean, they have Dontavian Wicks, Hollywood Brown. Don't get me wrong. They can stretch it a little bit. But it's not going to – and let's not act like the A.J. Brown thing was some kind of, Tyquan Thornton, some kind of Xavier Worthy, some kind of I can run 4-2, stretch the field. It's more about the dynamism that he plays with and catching those contested catches, breaking those tackles, and moving the ball downfield. Now it's a much more, I'd say, efficient offense, which I think is what you need with the Jalen Hurts.
They're making sure that they cater to what their strengths are in terms of what their quarterback can do.
The ADOTs are going to be low. Smith is probably going to have the largest ADOT on this roster from guys with north of 50 targets, and he'll be the one that stretches the field a little bit. They'll probably try to do that with Wicks and Hollywood. Hollywood's a little bit older, slower.
Yeah.
Wicks, we saw. I mean, if you really want to tell yourself a story, there's a touch. There's a speck of A.J. Brown dust in Dontavian Wicks' play style. And if you want to mold something into that, sure, it could potentially happen. But this pretty much clearly tells us that this offense is going to be circled around Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Mekhi Lemon, Dallas Goedert, and Devonta Smith.
And so let me ask you this. So when we were building our mocks, when we were talking about where these players go, we routinely said this statement. Mekhi Lemon's floor is 16. He falls to 20. And theoretically, you could talk about it 23. Is this a slide for Lemon? Should fantasy owners be wary of what the NFL is telling us about Mekhi Lemon? Because some people thought Mekhi Lemon was good enough to go in the top 10. He falls to pick 20. So how should the fantasy owners, the fantasy managers be evaluating a guy like Mekhi Lemon who falls semi-favorably? We'll see a production bump when the official A.J. Brown trade happens. How should managers be feeling right now about Mekhi Lemon?
Nervous. Mad nervous.
Super duper nervous?
Mad nervous. You know why? Because they added, correct me if I'm wrong, did they add another receiver that I didn't mention?
They've added two receivers.
I mentioned Hollywood. I mentioned Dontavian Wicks. Did they add one more?
Did they? I don't know. Did they?
Yeah, was his name? Well, I heard it.
Say it louder for the chat.
Elijah Moore. That's right.
Yeah,
so how tall is Elijah Moore?
5'10".
Was Elijah Moore dynamic in the SEC?
25 years ago.
Was there a lot of expectation from Elijah Moore coming out of the SEC?
Yeah.
Right. That's what I thought. I wasn't sure though, because he kind of, I know some people wanted to say, hey man, Casey Concepcion's a slot receiver, man. He's Wan'Dale Robinson, Elijah Moore. But I'm telling you, Mekhi Lemon's not that much different.
I would agree with you, but
Mekhi Lemon and Elijah Moore aren't that far apart from each other. And if you bring in a guy like Elijah Moore, there's a clear role there.
Yeah.
In the slot. Mekhi Lemon's playing in the slot.
Is it going to be competition?
Like,
What you're saying?
Go argue with your mama if you don't believe he's going to play in the slot. It's going to be Devonta Smith. You're going to get Wicks and Brown, and they're barely going to see the field. And then you're going to get Lemon in the slot if he can beat out Elijah Moore. Keyword if he can beat out Elijah
It's
Moore.
spicy. And we got a lot to talk about Mekhi Lemon, so let's send it over to the fantasy desk.
It's on. It's on. Finally, Mekhi Lemon has landed. This is solid. This is a good, not great landing spot. It could get worse. He could have landed somewhere where he'd be the wide receiver 3. He's going to be the wide receiver 2 by, let's say, October. But think about the target competition there. You have Devontae Smith, number 1. He's still the undisputed alpha there. Then you've got Dontavian Wicks, who they traded multiple picks for, and he is an X profile, an outside profile. So you have a couple outside profile guys. Marquise Brown now profiles as an inside player. He can't win on the outside anymore, so he's now a slot guy. And you add Mekhi Lemon to that mix. Mekhi Lemon comes in with special teams ability, so I think immediately he'll be an instant impact for Philadelphia on special teams. But this is a low-volume, pass-first offense that's actually a run-first offense because they might drop back a lot, but then they end up running the ball because it's Jalen Hurts. So you're going to have Jalen Hurts pulling pass attempts out of that offense. And this is not what at first I was like, wow, it's just him and Devontae Smith. And then you start to actually think about how many targets are available in Philadelphia, all the target competition in year 1. Suddenly, a Mekhi Lemon breakout seems difficult to plausibly connect the dots to. I can't quite figure it out. I'd really have to get on the whiteboard and draw 3 or 4 lines over here, and they connect over there, and then maybe over here, and then a guy gets hurt or whatever it is. And that's before we talk about Jalen Hurts and the tumultuous relationship that he suddenly has with the front office and how his role with the franchise, his place in football is suddenly up in the air. So as much as I love the all-purpose everything profile of Mekhi Lemon, I would have much preferred him go to a pass-first offense. I had him mocked to the Rams. And admittedly, I was up to number 6 in the Huddle Report contest. It was a great feeling there, running hot after Ione Vega went to the Ravens. I actually had that and forgot that I had that, but I did have that. And then after that, it's been one miss after another because what's happening is a lot of these offensive linemen are going off the board, but it was very difficult to figure out who needed offensive linemen and precisely which offensive lineman they would select. I'm whiffing like crazy. Theo Greminger, player profiler prodigy, Theo Greminger has moved ahead of the Podfather. I'm still number 1 by a long way against this group of characters. Okay, but in terms of overall, I'm sliding out of the top 10. Sadly, it doesn't look like I'm going to win this thing. And Mekhi Lemon, his position in Dynasty rookie drafts is now tenuous because he is on a low pass volume offense with a lot of target competition in year 1, competition that's good but not great, good enough to siphon targets away from him and potentially marginalize him to a special teams gadget role in year 1, where then the hope is that he grows into a much bigger role in year 2. You can see it all, but in year 1, it's going to be hard to push the button on Mekhi Lemon to start him week in, week out. So, Coach, I think that the wide receiver 3 position in the rookie rankings is now officially wide open, especially now that Mekhi Lemon has fallen. See, if he had gotten somehow at one point, he was a lock to get top 10 draft capital. Then he's a lock to get top 15 draft capital. Now he's going at 20. Suddenly, okay, he is now on par from a draft capital standpoint, late first round pick. He's going to be on par with Concepcion, assuming he even goes. Yes. Assuming Boston goes. Now, I'm not going to have Boston under any circumstances ahead of Mekhi Lemon, but this opens the door. It cracks the door for Concepcion to move in to wide receiver 3.
Absolutely. And we've talked about a Fat 4 in that tier 1. Tier 1 imports is where we have Casey Concepcion. And Matt, you make a great point because there is an opening. the Philadelphia Eagles directionally did the correct thing. They took advantage of their divisional opponent, made the trade with the Cowboys.
Great trade.
Yes, great trade.
move. The right
Yes.
pick.
Yes.
It was the right football
Yes.
pick, but it's a mid-level landing spot for fantasy.
Yes, and you hit the nail on the head. And now it just makes it easier button. You don't have to squint for Carnell Tate or Jordan Tyson. You're going to cement them up in the 1-2. And then, as you say, Denzel Boston, Casey Concepcion, it leaves the door wide open. Let's say it's the San Francisco 49ers and you get Casey Concepcion. How can you not love that in a higher volume and a better coached offense? I would be all about it.
Well, think about the picks. Think about the picks that we might have. A lot of us have. I've and by the way, appreciate all of you inviting me to your dynasty leagues. I'm now in 20 dynasty leagues. I have 20 orphans with a lot, and for some reason, a lot of my teams have a lot of Luther Burden. I don't know why. A lot, and he's going right on the block with Tootin right on the block. And so I have a bunch of 104s. I have a bunch of 105s. I have a bunch of 106s. And with Sadiq going to the Jets, especially in tight end premium, and now with Lemon falling to 20 and going to a low pass volume offense, this makes 2026 rookie picks even less valuable than they were before, if that's even possible, but it's possible.
And you have Ty Simpson, who's going to have to wait for an entire year. I don't want him in round 1 of any rookie draft.
That's right.
Those make it even worse.
Superflex,
it's getting even worse.
Ty Simpson.
Yes, it's getting even worse.
Was ruined for at least the first year. I wouldn't say nuke, but not great.
What are you going to do in 2026 with him?
I don't like this, Coach. I don't like. So far, this first round for dynasty rookie drafts has been a dud. Has there been a single player, even going all the way back, if we rewind the tape all the way back to Jeremiah Love, that wasn't best case scenario.
No.
Jeremiah Love is going to have a Tyler Algier problem in year 1. All of the Chris Olave is the established number 1 in New Orleans. These 2020, if you traded your 2026 picks, if you got out of the 2026 draft, congratulations.
Hey, and if you want to look for a winner, look for the Carolina Panthers and Tedoroa McMillan. Year 2 Tedoroa McMillan. There's no receiver. There's no tight end drafted there. I believe you had a tight end projected for round 1 for the Panthers.
Sadiq.
Yes. So you don't have Sadiq. You dodge that bullet. You dodge a receiver bullet in round 1. That tells me year 2 Tedoroa McMillan. So while we can see the direction of this rookie class cratering, it's bullish signal for Tedoroa McMillan. So you have to look where the board isn't. And Tedoroa McMillan, a huge winner from draft night on night 1.
We're going to kick it back to the main desk. The main boys over at the draft desk.
I want to talk fantasy football real quick. I want to talk about Superflex rookie drafts. If your team is not good, if you're not ready to compete in 2026, and you pass on Ty Simpson straight up and down like 6 o'clock, you're a moron. Because
what?
Moron. Because Ty Simpson went to the nails landing spot. We all want every quarterback to go with where? Where do we want quarterbacks to go, Cody?
To places with great coaches,
Kevin O'Connell,
great coordinators,
Sean McVay,
great weaponry.
And now he's going to go there. So if you have the 102, the 103, and you don't find yourself to be a competitor in 2026, and you pass on Ty Simpson in Superflex, you're shooting yourself in the foot, because what you may be giving up is a quarterback that is just heavily coveted months from now. Because what would we talk about? The back injuries, the age, we know when the bullets are flying and the chaos ensues in fantasy, things change. Things change quick. So I just want to say, for fantasy purposes, Ty Simpson, I think this was awesome. If you are in a strong Superflex rookie draft, Ty Simpson has to fly up draft boards. He went to the nails landing spot.
Let's just review all of the fantasy landing spots so far from the top. So we had Carnell Tate to the Titans.
You're forgetting the most obvious.
No. We'll come back to that, because that's the one position where it doesn't really matter. Carnell Tate to the Titans. We had Jordan Tyson to the Saints. Ty Simpson to the Rams. Kenyon Sadiq to the Jets, which that's the burial.
The one pick that we're celebrating of all the picks is Carnell Tate to the Titans.
That's the clear one.
This is a bad night for fantasy. This is
awful. Oh my God. Good chalk. Good chalk.
what?
Hakeem Mesidor, pick 22 to the Los Angeles
Makes
Chargers.
sense. Makes sense. They were in on defensive line. That's what they brought in for their 30 visits. That's what they needed to fix. I am a little bit surprised they didn't go with a guy that can help stop the run. This is a team that has been absolutely decimated when it comes to runs, but I guess that's something they can address in future rounds. So
You know what?
Mesidor is a good pick here.
You know, one of my favorite things to do once you get into the 20s in the huddle report is when you get to a player and it's a team and a player and you get to put 3 points next to him.
You did Chargers to
Yeah.
Mesidor?
Yeah.
And you didn't say that to us, huh?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good one
It's
because
good chalk.
that's a good chalk.
It's good chalk. How am I going to not be the one that ends up, not with pants on later? Mesidor.
You're going to keep your Mesidor in your pants.
I'm going to keep my Mesidor in my pants.
Well, hey,
Alex put him on
All
the
right.
Buffalo Bills. You
I
had
had him on the Bills.
You had him on the Bills as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where Matt had him, but I feel good now. Now I got a little bit.
I think Matt had him to the Bucks.
I'm stretching my arms out a little bit. I think Alex is going to be back there behind me somewhere, and I'm going to feel good about it. So, Hakeem Mesidor, edge rusher, goes to the Los Angeles Chargers.
Mhm.
Again, we're on a run of D-line, O-line, edge, D-line,
Trenches.
O-line, edge, trenches, and trenches. And then we're going to get a weapon here and there. We're going to get a weapon here and there. I'm very interested right here with the Cowboys. So who's after the Cowboys? Because the Cowboys are at 23,
Then it's the Browns.
and then we have the Browns
We
at 24.
expected a pass catcher for the Browns.
Well, we have two opportunities here. Well, these next, actually, you know what? I'm going to say this. The next 5 picks, it's Cowboys, it's Browns, it's Bears, it's Bills, and it's Niners. And this should be something like this. Edge, receiver, edge, receiver, edge. Receiver, edge, receiver, edge, receiver. Receiver, receiver, edge, edge, receiver. Something like this for these next 5 picks.
I think we see a lot more trenches go right here. I think we see one receiver in this stretch go.
Sure. Okay. Edge, receiver, edge, edge.
Edge, receiver, offensive line edge.
Okay. Who's going to go receiver out of these guys?
I would say the Browns. The Browns have been sniffing around the receiving core. Denzel Boston is a favorite pick here. Casey Concepcion would be a pretty good pick here. This is their luxury pick. We talked about luxury picks earlier. This is the Browns' luxury pick. This was them trading back out of Travis Hunter, getting Mason Graham, getting a free pick this year. They took the trenches guy. They took Fanu early. This is their chance to get a pass catcher, whether that be Boston, Concepcion, Omar Cooper Jr. It's really pick your flavor here for the Browns, but this was always going to be a bucking of the trend when it comes to wide receivers in round 1. And now we're seeing it in full effect because even from now 23 to 32, you can really only realistically put 2 more receivers in and feel good about it. You probably don't even feel good about 2.
So if we if I think we can agree Dallas is the preferred spot here. If you add a receiver to one of these teams.
Yeah.
Because if it's the Browns, we had a commenter in here, EJD 1149.
Shout out
I don't
EJ.
want any receivers going to the Browns hellhole.
Shador.
Sure. But I mean, yes,
Sure.
you instantaneously, if
Sure.
you're Casey Concepcion, Denzel Boston, I think you instantaneously probably become wide receiver 1. Right now, Fannon's going to be the target leader, I'd say. You look at Bond, you look at Tillman, you look at Judy. I think you walk in there, you're good. But it's Cleveland.
Yeah,
It's a run-based offense with a new offensive line, a quarterback in flux situation. You look at the Cowboys and all the stuff we've heard about Pickens. Pickens signed his tag today.
He said he'll play when there's under the tag.
Sure, play. Didn't say he play for the Cowboys.
No.
It could be a tag and trade situation where the Cowboys got downs already.
Mhm.
They could go
traded
corner.
back.
They could go Jermod McCoy here. They could go edge here, or they could draft a wide receiver, trade Pickens tonight or in the morning, and then come back early in the second round and draft edge in a deep edge class.
Yeah. But who would be Boston? Would Boston be the theoretical replacement? Big guy, high catch point guy, downfield guy, contested catch guy. Would that be the replacement for Pickens if we're playing that game? If we're playing that narrative, is that the pick?
Baby, I'm on fire. I'm about to need that like third ball. You know, when you 3,
You're on
You know
heat
what I'm
check.
talking about, Garrett.
You're on heat
Three.
check. You're on
Three.
heat check.
You come back down. Heat check. Heat check.
Who'd you get?
I'm Malachi Lawrence, the Dallas Cowboys.
Nice pick. I had
Edge rusher,
good
Central
pick.
Florida.
Yeah, good pick. That's a good pick. That's a good pick.
Theo Greminger and Todd McShay are at the top of the food chain right now.
Well, that is good for Theo.
We go Theo McShay and Matt Schrager.
Matt Schrager. Yeah. Huh. We're in night one of the draft, boys. Let's give a round of applause. Night one of the draft. Chat, let us know. Is this fun? This is
Of
fun.
course it's
This is
fun.
fun. This is
What kind
fun.
of questions?
All right, let's dial back.
You didn't put Malachi in the Cowboys.
No, I actually picked the Chiefs trading up from Malachi from the Cowboys because I wanted J-Rod to the Cowboys.
You are in the corner chair right now on that one.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. What do you mean? You
No, I'm
traded it, you watched it happen, and you just, hey, I'm gonna give it away. I'm gonna sit over here.
Are you calling me Steve Sarkisian on this podcast right now?
I don't know what that means, but I passed the Podfather. I'm now number one in this room. Like I said, when you get to the 20s and you're in the huddle report, it's really enjoyable to go 3, right? They click the 3 button and not the 1 button.
Yeah.
3,
Yeah.
3. Malachi Lawrence.
So
All right.
I get a point though because I did pick Lawrence.
We brought up edge though. We brought up edge. We brought up receiver. And we just see the first edge go off the board right here. So now I'm kind of on Cleveland Brown watch. From a fantasy football perspective, we have to be on Brown watch right here.
We might be on Boston watch.
The Browns took Spencer Fano.
Mhm.
And what's the other need for the Cleveland Browns?
Pass catcher.
Everyone will argue with you it's quarterback. They're not going quarterback.
No.
I believe that there's arguments to go offensive line again. I don't think they will. I think
Cody?
you should.
Cody?
You should go edge.
Cody.
You should go edge.
Cody. I seriously mean to interrupt you here. What is the GD thing we've been saying all night? You said this months ago. The Browns can go back-to-back oots here.
I need a heat. I got my heat check.
But
I got my heat check.
could
On the screen.
you just put another 3 on the board?
I got another 3 on the board.
They took KC? So pass catcher. This is what we were saying. Pass catcher. This is what we were saying. We were saying pass
Wide
catcher.
receiver, Texas A&M, Casey Concepcion
This
goes
is what we're
to
saying.
the Cleveland Browns with the 24th overall selection. Matt Akiwum, you had
Denzel Boston.
Denzel Boston. Matt Kelly, you had Denzel Boston. He had Boston. Alex Dunlap, Cody Carpentier, both had Casey Concepcion.
No, that stinks. That means Dunlap passed me.
Team roster watch is now officially cooking with peanut oil
Ugh.
late in round 1. I'm ecstatic. And now the Browns are on the clock. The Bears are on the clock.
We need a little TJ Parker action right now. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about KC Concepcion because
This
I was
is-
going to ask you this.
this
Is
is
theoretical.
massive.
Now we know.
This is a massive spot right here.
Well, this is the type of archetype that can handle 115 targets.
This is the kind of archetype that takes Jerry Jeudy and sends him to Tennessee.
Bye.
This is the type of archetype that takes Jerry Jeudy and ships him to be the next Calvin Ridley.
Mhm.
Bye-bye, gone, you're done. You got Bond there who has the speed, who can play flanker or X or slot. You got Cedric Tillman, who is your prototypical beta alpha. I like Tillman a lot.
Mhm.
But this is an opportunity for Casey Concepcion to walk into this building with an 18-year-old breakout and not a 4.2-yard ADOT, not a 5.2-yard ADOT, not a 6.2-yard ADOT, 7, 8, 9, 10. Keep going if you want to see what he did at North Carolina State. This is a great opportunity for Casey Concepcion.
This is a great landing spot. Fantastic landing
From
spot.
a fantasy football perspective, immediately lumps him ahead of Lemon.
But this is what I was saying earlier in the show, that Mekhi Lemon was the guy that was out on the branch that could be passed with a landing spot like this. Concepcion is a guy that, like you mentioned, he can have a high target share, also have a high yards per route run, a high ADOT. And because of those factors, you can't rule out 8, 9, 10 touchdowns in his rookie season. Concepcion becomes, right now, in my opinion, the guy right after the big two. And by the time we make drafts in August, redrafts, Concepcion may be ahead of guys like Tyson.
I mean, I think Casey Concepcion. Ooh, that's a good question. You know, I think that there's enough of an opportunity in New Orleans right now at Tyson. Dang.
Tied in first, though. Tied in first.
That's okay. We're cooking.
He's on heat. Hey, guys, you're on fire. You're officially NBA Jam on fire and fuego. Matt Kelly down to 44. You hate to see it. All right, we don't need to be checking scores. Let's keep talking about the draft.
Can you pull up our last picks, please?
Yeah, of course.
So we talked about this. The role was going to be Mesidor, Edge goes 22, Malachi Lawrence goes 23, Casey Concepcion goes 24, and we're looking at the Chicago Bears, where I think it's very interesting right here. It's not going to be a fantasy football relevant player.
No.
I don't think Jadarian Price is going to rip off the board here at pick 25.
No.
What it should be is a Peter Woods. It could be
Dylan
a TJ
Thieneman.
Parker. And you had the safeties who we've heard all along, Minnesota Vikings, Carolina Panthers, Dylan Thieneman, the safety from Oregon, is going to go to one of those two teams. If it's not the Vikings, he will go to Carolina. It was kind of talked about.
Yeah.
You know, McShay, for example, said all along, he goes like, if you were to give me the lock spots, Sonny Styles to Washington, the lock spot.
Mhm.
Thieneman, if he's available when the Panthers are picking, lock spot. Turns out tackle was there.
Yeah. Big time
Thieneman's still
tackle.
available. And you got to remember, the Chicago Bears at one point this offseason, I believe, had no safeties on the roster.
Not and then they lost Byard. But we had some fantasy stuff come off the board. And of course, this is playerprofiler.com. Make sure you're using the promo code DRAFT. Get $50 off the all-in package to you, Fantasy Desk.
Cody Carpentier is now in first place in the Huddle Report contest. I continue to get the players that are getting drafted in the first round correct. Yes, I had Casey Concepcion as a first round pick, but I did not have him going to Cleveland. I had Denzel Boston. And this is a trend that is unfortunately happening to the Podfather, where I am getting the right position, wrong player. I was back and forth between Concepcion and Boston, but I thought Boston was a better fit, and that's all it came down to. Even though I know Concepcion's a better player, and yet that was a tough one. When you look at the Chargers, I had Woods going to the Chargers. I had, Detroit, I had them taking offensive line. All these teams had taking offensive line, just the wrong offensive lineman. Had these teams taking edge, got the wrong edge, receivers, wrong receiver, right position, wrong player.
Yep.
So I'm sliding. Alex and Cody are rising.
You got
Maddie.
you were getting a little excited there. I mean, you got a little excited. I mean, it was a good start. The run out was good. You know, we just didn't land the plane, but there's still more time.
I feel good. I mean,
Still more time.
Right position, wrong player.
Yeah.
I wish there was some way to get some points for that, whatever. But that's the one that I regret. Like, how am I supposed to know that the Chargers prefer, edge X versus edge Y? Didn't feel bad about that at all. This one, when you go with an inferior player, that's one that and your colleagues are saying it's Concepcion, and you're sitting there on Wednesday night saying no, I think. And then actually Alex left Denzel Boston out of the first round altogether, and Cody said Denzel Boston is the quintessential early second round pick, and I agreed with him. And for some reason I was like, no, but the NFL loves players like Denzel Boston time and time again. And
they fall in love with it.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
I was wrong. Denzel Boston's not a Brown. Casey Concepcion is, and this is a fantasy desk. And the bottom line is, I want to make an announcement on the Player Profiler Dynasty rankings. And again, the code is draft. The code is draft to get $50 off the all-in package just this weekend. And you will see soon enough, Casey Concepcion in the number 3 spot in the wide receiver rankings for Dynasty. This is good news. I mean, this doesn't save the class by any means, but this is very good news. Of course, they're going to get better, right?
Sure.
Watson and Shedeur Sanders for a full season is certainly an upgrade over last year's quarterback play. Okay.
Yeah.
So that we know, that's good. And Jerry Jeudy may not be playing a single snap for the Cleveland Browns now. That was part of my thinking was, he's too redundant with Jerry Jeudy. As if Jerry Jeudy matters.
Yeah.
Just take the best player there.
Come on. The Jerry Jeudy wish casting has happened for way too long. The truth is this, right?
So mad.
We talk about KC conception, right? And we talked about the Miami Dolphins. And we said, Miami, would that be the spot for a fantasy spot?
Or is it Conception?
Concepcion.
It's Concepcion.
Yeah, the stream knows I always mess up the names.
It's Concepcion.
It doesn't matter. They always give me a break. But the point,
and Coach, by the way, Coach, it's archetype.
I think his name's Kevin, actually, by the way, too.
Who?
KC. I'm pretty sure his first name is actually Kevin.
But
yeah. Yeah, but he goes by KC.
But we, just like with Achan, we are calling people what they want to be called. It's Concepcion.
Okay. The point is this. Let me ask you, okay? The Miami Dolphins now still have a massive hole at wide receiver. KC doesn't go there, right? He obviously goes to the Browns.
I had Miami drafting Concepcion.
Well, okay, so there you go. But in this spot, right?
If they go Boston, I'm gonna be beside myself.
But
if they go Boston, I'm gonna be furious.
But if they go Boston, right? Let's just say hypotheticals here, because we still got a couple more picks to go until the first round's done. But if they go Boston, does Boston, in your opinion, is it hyperbolic to then say Boston possibly over Lemon? I wouldn't go that far, but would you take Boston over Sadiq if he goes to the Miami Dolphins? Because I absolutely would.
Well,
like I wouldn't even think about it.
What about tight end premium?
I don't care. I don't even care.
So in tight end premium, you're gonna go Boston.
Yeah.
Okay, I would not do that. I don't think Boston is that good. I want more raw production. Excuse me, but I'm an older man at this point. I have gray hair, and so I'm allowed to just ask for raw production and not only focus on the efficiency. And Denzel Boston underperformed his physical traits. And whenever
he was a monster, he was a monster in the red zone. What do you expect?
I've seen this movie so many times.
I know the Keon Coleman comp. It's not Keon Coleman. He's not Keon Coleman.
Who is he? Is he Laquan Treadwell? Who is he? How many guys can I give?
He's way more fluid as a route runner than Coleman. I will say that. Number one. Number two, when we just talk about a shitty or crappy class so far, we haven't gotten a lot of great landing spots, right?
No, this is great.
Okay.
This is great.
So you like Casey, right? We're kind of down on Lemon, but if Boston were to go to Miami, where the world is his oyster, in a class that we're not going to get we're not really in love with the landing spots. Sure, you like Casey, we're not in love with Casey. You're talking about the opportunity.
I really like the opportunity. This is going to be they're going to be throwing a lot.
Well, for the Browns, yeah, but they still have Quinshon Judkins. Modkins coming back. You don't think they might be more run style offense?
Sure, in the first half, you can run all you want, and then you're down 14 points in the third quarter, and you have to throw. There is going to be a world. There is so much hype and love and affinity for KC Concepcion in Dynasty. I've heard some Dynasty analysts, locking him into the top 3 already before the draft.
Sure.
And with the injury concerns and now being on a team with an unproven quarterback with just a partial season on his resume, being the clear number 2, it is conceivable.
Uh-oh.
And we are going to see it.
I know where you're going here.
We are going to start to see it as early as Sunday morning.
Oh, boy.
As early as Sunday morning, we are going to start to see.
Don't say it.
We're going to start to see KC Concepcion as the number 2 wide receiver off the board in rookie drafts.
That'd be a mistake. I'm a big KC Concepcion fan, but that would be a massive mistake.
I don't think that's a massive mistake.
Kellen Moore, who do you trust more, Kellen Moore or Todd Monken?
KC Concepcion is a better all-around receiver, right? I think
than Tyson.
Well, so is Lemon, right? Lemon's also a better all-around receiver. It's just that Jordan Tyson does the thing that the NFL loves the most, which is big wingspan, athleticism.
He's athletic, ceiling's high,
tantalizing, but he is weak after the catch. He is, he has some.
So what are you?
Not the sharpest, most polished route runner.
But are you going to have him ahead of him? Are you going to have Casey ahead of Tyson?
I am very open to this.
You're okay.
I don't think this is crazy talk.
I think it's crazy
I don't
talk.
think this is wild speculation.
I think it's wild.
The thing that's probably going to force my hand, because it's just like I'm not the fantasy player I was 10 years ago, where I'm making these crazy swings. The top 10 capital for Tyson is the thing that's going to prevent me, is going to be the air brakes that prevents me from doing it.
Sure.
But it is going to be a consideration, and I'm very open. I am very open. Y'all want to write articles about this? Please, I want to read them. You want to post it on Dynasty Reddit? By all means, I'm here for it. I want to consume all the Concepcion at wide receiver 2 and rookie drafts. I'm here for it. And I think there's been some picks coming in. That's what we got with Concepcion.
That's what we got.
And we're going to send it back to the boys at the main desk. But we are going to hit the couch one more time as well, because we have fixed the mic issue 100%. You're welcome.
We heard your comments. We're going back to the main desk.
Are we up?
Hey, we're back.
I didn't hear mashed potatoes or
We have
macaroni
we have cat. Nope, I didn't
or
hear anything
milk
about
or
mackerel
milk or anything.
or mahi mahi.
We
Nothing.
are in trade hour. It's now officially been labeled trade hour after we get the Dylan Thieneman selection by the Chicago Bears. No, this is the trade
This is
hour.
the
I don't know nothing about no witching hour. Wishing hour is going to come on Saturday at about 3:30. This is the trade hour.
We start
because-
taking shots of tequila on air.
Yes. So we had, of course, Casey Concepcion go, and then we had Dylan Thieneman go to the Bears. Houston traded up with the Bills, traded up over the Niners, and they didn't go Caleb Lomu, who we all kind of thought, oh, unofficially this might be a Lomu move. We're talking
I thought
about it
there
over
was
here.
no doubt a Lomu move.
And it turns out it's Keelan Rutledge, who is a bad dude. We heard he is a bad dude.
Mustachioed man.
A mother. And he's going to go to Houston. Georgia Tech offensive lineman. He's going to go to Houston.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, the Niners got leaped and they go, damn, we better get back. So the Niners have now traded down with the Dolphins. Dolphins, who were picking at 30, are now moving up to pick 27. Niners give up pick 30 and 90. Dolphins get
What?
27 and 138.
From McCoy?
Alex had Zion Young. I had Colton Hood to the Dolphins. The Dolphins moved up ahead of Kansas City, ahead of Buffalo, and, of course, in place of San Francisco now.
Mm-hmm.
You had Jermod McCoy.
I have McCoy, yeah.
McCoy's fallen. McCoy's in availability right now.
Mhm.
Who's the number one player on your board right now? The number one
McCoy's
player,
my number one player on the board with a bullet.
my number one player is Peter Woods.
But if they move up, okay, so this is where we can never, ever, 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 ever know what's really happening. Because the writing on the wall was getting ahead of the Niners was for Lomu, not for the guard.
Yeah.
Because Basantis, Pregnon, all on the board. You move up for a guard that we thought would be there when you were picking.
Yes.
Their intel. And you know what? DeMeco Ryans, if there's anyone that knows what the Niners want to do, it's DeMeco Ryans, right? He has a lot of ties to the Niners. So his inclinations, everyone must have known you got to get ahead of the Niners here if you want Rutledge. They do. Then the Niners are able to get the Dolphins to move up. Dolphins, you know, they bullied out. They moved back one spot, got draft capital, moved back up. I don't know who it's for because I don't know what they're going. Is it Keldrick Falk? Are they trying to get ahead of the Bills for Falk?
What does Boston do to this whole fantasy thing if he goes here to Miami?
If Boston goes to the Dolphins here, I mean, we're talking about is this Devontae Parker 2.0? Big guy, might take a little bit of, marination, development, but a guy that with Malik Willis, in an offense of Malik Willis, we're not talking about high passing volume. We're talking about you have to capitalize on big time plays. Boston is the guy that does that. I mean, this is a guy that's pretty electrical with the ball in his hands. This is a guy that is pretty good yak, pretty good contested catch numbers. So, I mean, I think it's fun. It's probably not great for our rookie drafts. It's more fun for best ball.
Insta wide receiver 1 on that roster.
Oh, insta wide receiver 1, insta alpha. But what does that mean? And what does that look like on a weekly basis? I think it looks good for best ball when you don't have to decide. But I think in the long term, it's a good thing. Because Boston, I even said this last night, Boston has a lot of Devontae Parker in them, enough for me to be excited. Devontae Parker was the 11th overall pick. Like he was a more highly scouted or touted prospect. But Boston has enough in that game. But what we're not talking about here, it looks like the Dolphins moved up to 27 and did not lose 30.
Yeah, they did.
So my thing just didn't update.
It just didn't update yet.
Okay.
They moved
'Cause
up.
I was gonna say that would have been
They moved up from
very
30,
nice.
No. They moved up from 30 to 27, from 30 to 27.
They gave up 30 and what?
And again, we just went over this a minute ago. I don't
Yeah, they
have
did.
it in front of me. 30 and 90.
Okay.
30 and 90
Yep.
for 27 and 138. So the Dolphins, this is the benefit of having that ammunition.
Mhm.
Is you can move around. They moved around again with, remember the Dallas Cowboys?
Yep.
They moved down one spot. They gained 2 5th-round picks. Then they move up and they get cornerback from San Diego State, Chris Johnson.
So they get the second cornerback off the board, Chris Johnson. The draft today has been a lot of fun because we're not seeing a lot of positional value players. Of course, we're seeing edge, but 2 quarterbacks. We've only seen 4 wide receivers. We've now only seen 2 cornerbacks go. Chris Johnson. So we're thinking what Chris Johnson might have gone to the Chiefs
Buffalo.
or the Buffalo.
Buffalo is an interesting spot there. And then, of course, you have the Chiefs. The Chiefs who lost 2 cornerbacks, right? They got Delane, right? No.
They did get Delane.
They got Delane. Yeah.
They were. So why move up? It must have been the Bills. They must have had intel in the Bills.
Yeah.
Because at this point, see, these guys are jockeying for position. So now the Bills must have been sitting there. The Bills just took a cornerback in round 1, a year ago?
Yeah.
See, sometimes it's tough to try to predict these things because why are you moving around the draft board when Chris Johnson should have been sitting there at 30?
Yep.
But anyway, let's analyze the play. The play's a good player at San Diego State. You saw him live in Mobile. You saw him in person. This is a guy that we wanted to get eyes on, boots on the ground, because at San Diego State, the competition isn't necessarily the highest. What did you see when you saw him in Mobile?
I like Chris Johnson. I didn't think he was the best corner there. The conversation was all around Colton Hood from Tennessee, who I do have in here because we got some late buzz that he might be drafted ahead of McCoy, his partner in crime at Tennessee. I thought Davis and Igbinosun from Ohio State had the best week at the cornerback position in Mobile. Chris Johnson was just rock steady. He never got mossed. Igbinosun and Colton Hood both got mossed, both got worked over in the red zone area. Chris Johnson was just steady Eddie over there in the black helmet with the little bit of red trickle from the Aztec logo. And you're like, steady Eddie over there.
Yeah.
And he was fine. And I think this is a good spot. See, here's the deal with Miami. You trade down one spot. Who'd they get?
Caden Proctor.
Okay. You got your offensive lineman. Day 1. Now, you had Chris Johnson. You believe he's your lockdown. You haven't had a lockdown since Jalen Ramsey.
This is a big move for them.
We have a problem. Cody's crushing. You and Alex are tied at 34.
Yes!
Okay.
I thought I was last by myself.
There's a microphone with listeners. And
I backed away from it.
Well, you didn't in my ear.
I backed away. Yeah, well, your ear's F'sville, but that's okay.
I'm only 2 points ahead of you guys.
I'm catching you.
And I have some pretty sketchy picks, like Denzel Boston. And McCoy.
We got 5 picks left.
And you get a point for every pick that it lands in the first round.
Yeah.
I have some bad picks too.
I don't like what's happening.
How many points you got?
All right.
Where were we?
I don't know.
Dolphins. They got Chris Johnson.
Yes.
Who
Johnson,
they must believe is their lockdown. He's their new guy. Because they, again, Ignogany, whatever, who they've had at cornerback, they haven't had a lockdown since it was Jalen Ramsey. I believe Chris Johnson is going to be that guy. That's what they're bringing him to be. Elite production in 2025, 13 pass deflections, 4 picks, no touchdowns allowed, 41% completion percentage allowed.
He's got that Sauce Gardner frame.
2 career starts against Power 5.
That's the question here. But that's why you pay scouts, right, brother? It's to be able to put together a scouting report that tells you that Chris Johnson's worth it. I mean, one of the highest graded guys on a lot of scouting platforms. He had a great year at San Diego State. A decent draft cycle. Gets himself in the first round here. So now the Dolphins, they double tapped very valuable positions, right? Left tackle, cornerback, maybe the second and third most valuable position in the current state of the NFL. So now if you're a Dolphins fan, you're saying, listen, we're not going to compete, but at least we got some building blocks. At least we got the positions. If these guys hit, This is what this is what dreams are made of.
So we have the Bills, the Chiefs, the Niners, the Patriots, and the Seahawks. As long as there's no trades remaining in this draft, those are going to be the 5 guys that are going to make the final 5 selections. And the 5 players I have best available right now: Peter Woods, defensive tackle from Clemson, comped him to Jeffrey Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
I got Keldrick Falk from Auburn, comped him to Logan Hall. Jermod McCoy, Tennessee, Rock Ya-Sin as a cornerback. Those are my 3 first-round grades left right now, best available in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
TJ Parker from Clemson, edge. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren from Toledo, another guy that has been heavily discussed from Toledo. I thought he would fall out around 1, and then it's on down to the pure second-round graded players like Ant Hill, Zion Young, and Denzel Boston. Who's your top couple of guys available? And then we'll go to your Patriots pick here because they are trading up to pick 28.
Oh, that okay.
Who's your best available?
My best available is Jamal McCoy.
Okay.
But with a bullet. But then I have TJ Parker, Peter Woods, a lot of the same things you do. EMW. I love AMW, the prospect, Denzel Boston here. But if they're moving up, I'm gonna say that they might be moving up for Lomu.
Patriots move up ahead of the Niners and the Chiefs with their divisional foe, the Buffalo Bills.
The Buffalo Bills do love trading with people that they compete with. They traded with the Chiefs number of times. If the Pats are moving up, I think it might be Lomu here.
To replace Will Campbell?
No, maybe potentially to be another guy in the cog, a guy that could be your. If you can have, I'm using this term very lightly. Replace Will Campbell. If you could shift him inside, now you're talking about a formidable offensive line. Lomu
is the
played
pick.
left tackle.
Is the pick.
That's a great pick. I love that pick. I'm very excited as a Pats fan. Because Lomu was the last first round graded tackle that I had.
The last Mohican.
The last guy. It's not always about this, but when you look back on the profile, when you look back on the player, he does have some red flags. That's why he fell here. This is a guy who played left tackle over Spencer Fanta.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking, pie in the sky situation for the Patriots, you're looking to get a guy like Caleb Lomu that you're going to bring him right away and see what he can do. He's going to compete to be the starting right tackle, but he also is going to potentially push Will Campbell, the former 4th overall pick, to maybe move inside, to maybe move the right tackle, because at the end of the day, Caleb Lomu is more built to be a left tackle than Will Campbell. When you're just talking about measurables, when you're just talking about the frame, not necessarily the skill set, because I think Will Campbell's a better player, a better prospect. Obviously, with going 4th overall, he's the number 1 offensive lineman in the 2025 class. But this is a good move. And at the end of the day, I like seeing that the Patriots were aggressive because they were seeing, they could have sat back and, hoped, did the whole hope game. Hoped he
the
fell.
Niners are just getting double
up.
cut. Niners are going to head out.
They're probably going to exit stage right.
So if we click on Lomu quick, Lomu, I believe, was it his? No,
he has almost 1,500 starts.
I was looking at his freshman season. I couldn't remember if he had some opportunity in there. No, he's been the starter the last 2 years at Utah.
Mm-hmm.
42. No, not 42 starts. That was Maui Noah.
Blake Miller.
Blake Miller
was the most most experienced tackle maybe in this whole class.
What am I thinking here? My brain is just in wax right now. Wake up. Lomu, left tackle. My brain is working now. Left tackle, Utah. Started for 2 years, opposite, of course, of Spencer Fano. I did the Fano Lomu thing in my head.
Ooh, that's sick nasty. Did I have him in the first round?
Peter Piper Pecker Woods. Peter Woods, defensive tackle. Kansas City Chiefs.
Alex, did you have Woods in the first round? Yes, neither did I.
He did not. I did. I had him going to the Houston Texans.
All right, let's keep talking about some picks. I like Peter Woods. I want to ask you this in a philosophical thing. Can I ask you this though?
The punishment is
there a world in which the Clemson Tigers didn't have a monumental failure of a year in which Peter Woods now is a top 15 pick, TJ Parker's a top 15 pick? Is there a world in which the Tigers didn't absolutely fall flat in their face and these guys are not suffering, or are they just not the prospects that we thought they were?
What a massive night by the Chiefs.
I think this was a great night for the Chiefs.
And now they're going to sit back and they're going to come back tomorrow and have like pick 43 for an offensive lineman.
Caleb Tiedemann,
Tiernan.
possibly. I mean, look at the guards are still there, and they need interior. They don't really need tackle. They need interior. You're talking about. Listen, we're not gonna. All right, we're not doing hope casting for the Chiefs. We're not freaking Chiefs bobos. But if you are a Chiefs fan, Emmanuel Pregnon might be looking real good.
I'll be
tomorrow.
a Chiefs bobo.
Be a Chiefs bobo. Go ahead, be a bobo.
I'm a big Chief bobo. We're going to go to the couch. We got a couple picks left. We're going to see what these boys have to say.
You making a comeback over here. So how the scoring works again with a huddle report. If you get the player correct and right team in the first round, that's 3 points. But all you need to do is just get the player in the first round at all. Does he get drafted in the first round? Period. If you guess correctly that a player goes in the first round, and that's a point. And it's trivial in the first half because everybody knows who's going in the first half of the draft. In the second half, it's not clear who's going to be a late first versus an early second. So every time a player you have drafted anywhere in that top 32 gets someone's blowing their nose at a level I've never heard in my life. Anyway,
That's it.
listen, we're at pick 30. This is what happens. You start to hear someone eject the biggest booger you've ever heard. Anyway, yeah, and speaking of ejecting the biggest boogers, the GM of the Jets. No,
Do you want to tell them about that we're doing tops and takeaways tomorrow so that they know we're dropping?
it's a great call. Pete's this is his maiden voyage with the Draft House. Also, Jeremiah, coach, first time at the Draft House, so welcome. We get Nick, our producer. I want to give a shout out to Nick, the producer.
Hey man.
Shout out, Nick.
Yeah,
Nick
really doing
Big
a great
ups.
job.
Great job.
Why don't you come on over?
Nick can come.
Say
Yeah,
hey.
Nick's doing a great job. Nick did not test the microphones. That was actually Maddie. So Maddie might
What's up,
finishing
everyone?
last in the huddle report, and also he was responsible for testing the microphones on the couch. He's so mad at me. Oh my God. Nikki's here, producer. And then we also have our fearless news desk man, which is Garrett. I know he was blowing his nose earlier, but we should get Garrett on the couch too. Garrett's going to be here tomorrow. He'll be hanging out. Very tall man, very smart.
Dude,
Nose ball, really good guy.
They're saying 6'8".
6'8".
I know you guys are really intrigued and impressed by his height. So we have some height snobs here. Anand's doing a great. Again, I feel bad, but Anand came here.
What
He had a
size shoes?
suit. Anand was ready to go to the draft,
I'm being serious. Shit happens. What?
and yet he did not have a credential.
One,
I don't feel as bad about this.
Size 15 shoes.
Measurables.
No, I know you guys you're very impressed with the size thing. Men and their size, you gawk and you're it's a big topic of conversation among you guys. And I get it. Hey, Maddie, what's going on? Oh no, please no. I'm sorry. Oh, anyway, not sorry. So the bottom line is some of these picks are coming in late. Chris Johnson to the Dolphins. I had him as a first round pick. Didn't have him going to the Dolphins. Right? Caleb Lomu, by the way, to the Patriots. Patriots fans, incredible pick. This is a top 20 talent in this draft. I had him going to San Francisco. Clearly, I'm not getting Peter Woods. I had Peter Woods going to the Chargers. So you bank this single points and you start to tick your way back up, tick, 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 tick. So, the Peter Woods, great pick by the Chiefs. Chiefs are doing well. But it's possible that I can sneak back into the top 25 just with the singular move.
So the Jets moved up to get Omar Cooper.
Stop it. That just happened?
It's a thing that happened.
Oh, I did not have Omar Cooper. This was a big debate, Cooper versus Boston, but we didn't think all of them would get drafted in the first round. One of them would fall out of the first round. The under on the number of wide receivers drafted in the first round was the way to go, and it's trending in that direction. Boston could still go. It's still possible. We have two picks left. Buffalo at 31. For them to draft Keon Coleman 2.0 in Denzel Boston would be hard to believe. Seattle, I could see Seattle drafting Denzel, local kid. There's a narrative around Seattle going Denzel Boston here.
What about the Commanders?
It's a luxury pick. I know they're supposed to trade down, but they don't have any particular need. But the one position you could argue that they're weak is second receiver, and they already have their slot flanker, target magnet in Jackson Smith and Jigba. A good fit would be, an X decoy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
An X decoy would be great for that system. It'd be a great fit for their current talent configuration. And it's a local kid.
Right.
I had Ty Simpson going there, so I'm going to get the point for that. Thank God. But now looking back, maybe Denzel Boston would have been a smart pick for Seattle. We'll see what happens. But that's what it's going to come down to in terms of the over/under on receivers drafted in round 1.
It always was. It always was, and like that was the thing that we talked about was if you're going to take the 5.5 receivers, right, the over or the under, what you needed to look at was the Denzel Boston at over/under 28.5. Like, and that at this point, if you'd taken the over, it would have hit. So, I don't know. I think at this point, I think the Denzel Boston, it's just like Cody and I talked about, man.
We need Boston to go because you have him out of the first round. Cody left him out of the first round. If he goes, it helps me.
Well, forgetting about Boston, we know Omar Cooper's the pick right now, though. Sadiq, they take edge. You get Cooper. Do we like the Cooper pick? Because I actually kind of like the Cooper pick here for them. I mean, I don't like the Sadiq pick. We talked about that. I don't like it at all. What do you say?
The
Jets don't like
Jets fans are Jets fans. It's Slashy's in the comments right now. I know he's been tweeting about how he hates it.
Can you explain what the hell you like about this? They don't have a quarterback, and they just drafted a guy that's a worse version of the guy they already have.
They are building an offensive core for
The next guy.
2027 first round quarterback.
Yeah. That's how I look at it too. I don't like the Sadiq pick. I feel it feels like a luxury pick for the Jets, but Cooper kind of feels like it makes a little bit more sense. I mean, if you're a Garrett Wilson owner, the only thing I would say, at least in the short term for Garrett Wilson, it's a little nerve-wracking because I did like the Geno bump because you figure he'll pepper him. But if this offense isn't scoring touchdowns, right, Garrett Wilson's going to feast off of volume, but how much is he going to get into the end zone? And now you worry that volume could get taken away a little bit by Sadiq and Cooper now.
The Sadiq pick helps Cooper in that what it signals is because they also have Mason Taylor. This is going to be a team that's going to rely on 12 personnel.
They're going to run the ball.
And the trend, they're basically chasing the popular trend from 2 years ago. They're trending the en vogue move from 2 years ago. So they're late to the party with 12 personnel. And they're like, we're late to adjust. We see Mason Taylor as, our blocking time, as our Dawson Knox, our Michael Mayer, right? That's how they see Mason Taylor. And if Mason Taylor can step up as a blocker, I don't know what his blocking grade was like on PFF.
He was middle.
So he was okay, mid-level blocker. If he can get stronger, bigger, and a better blocker, and he can follow that Michael Mayer career path, that's good for him. He might end up breaking out on another team in a couple of years, but from an offensive system, it's not as much a luxury pick now. I would have said that 2 years ago, Pete, when so many of these teams were playing 11 personnel, but now that 12 personnel is becoming almost like the new standard, I kind of feel like most teams feel like they need 2 good tight ends. And this makes some sense. Now you've got basically 4 pass catchers and Breece Hall, but you've got 4 receivers, two tight ends and two receivers now. It's very clear. The one thing about Omar Cooper, it's overall bad because there were lots of great potential landing spots. Imagine him in Miami. You can imagine him in a lot of places that have wide open depth charts. So now he goes to a place where he's the clear number 2, potentially number 3 if you consider Sadiq, potentially number 4 if you consider Breece Hall. He comes in as basically the 4th best receiver on a team that doesn't have a quarterback. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to be bullish on Cooper. I know that there's going to be plenty of people drafting in rookie drafts. They're going to go with an early 2nd round receiver like a Denzel Boston, wherever he lands, over a Cooper because it's the Jets and you're not going to get much out of him this year. And I'm not even sure that he moves the needle. Like I think that he's not a player that's gonna be a threat to be this, target commander in the long run. He's always been a complimentary receiver, and complimentary receivers that are good, not great in all phases. They're good in high volume offenses with good quarterbacks. They are almost unusable on teams with bad quarterbacks.
This is all things bullish for Breece Hall because you bring up all the blocking, what's going to go on with Kenyon Sadiq and Mason Taylor. Omar Cooper, he is a phenomenal blocker. So that part of his game, coaches are going to love that. So a deceptive part of this, as you're watching, you got to look not just on the surface of what's happening, look at what's going to happen for Breece Hall. This is very bullish.
Yeah, that's a really good point. We get so focused on the pass catchers, but Breece Hall kind of getting a bump up here kind of makes a lot of sense too. Just given the fact that look, Cooper's known for being a good blocker. Sadiq, I'm not going to sit here and say that, but the point is like it's definitely bullish, and this is what this Jets team wanted to do under Aaron Glenn last year was be a run first offense, but they just weren't good at anything. So there was really no identity. So I think all that's fair. Now I do want to mention, since we still have people here in the chat, if you haven't liked the show, make sure you do so. If you're not subscribed, make sure you do so as well. If you're not watching on the Dynasty side, we do have a Dynasty channel that we launched a month and a half ago. We got a lot of content over there as well. And then tomorrow, myself and Matt are going to be dropping a top 10 takeaways from today's draft as we, smoke a couple cigars. The draft ends first round tonight. We all digest everything and kind of sit and think about what's taken place and who's still available. And we'll drop a video tomorrow. I don't know if we're going to do it live, Matt, but we'll drop it sometime before noon, I think.
Yeah, it's not going to be great. I mean, it's going to be it's going to be a good show. The show's going to be it's going to be amazing.
We'll make it. We'll make it.
It's going to be a good show.
We'll make it good.
But it's not going to be encouraging for those that have 2026 picks, especially if you have multiple 2026 picks. Maybe you can still tune in to get the real talk, but come in with tempered expectations, because we're talking about Omar Cooper to the Jets. I mean, just take a step back and think about what we're saying here. Two of the best weapons from this first round in Omar Cooper, which I'm not even excited about, but I'm not excited about this class in general.
It's why
and Sadiq, they go to the Jets. I mean, what are we talking about?
It's why it's so important to tune in tomorrow for the day 2, because
how many receivers, how many pass catchers went to good quarterbacks, are tethered to good quarterbacks from this draft? How many of them are jumping out of this draft airplane and holding on to a quality quarterback? Are you talking
so that's why
how many of those are there?
And so that's why
Tate,
I'm
assuming a lot if you're saying Carnell Tate.
That's why I'm telling you, if tomorrow, like Chris Bell goes to the Dolphins,
get ready.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
get ready.
There's so many different scenarios where day 2 guys are going to jump first round guys.
Right. Typically, now I know that I am skeptical of Tyler Shuck. I know some are way out over their skis on Tyler Shuck. I'm skeptical. I want to see a full season of production from a non-first round pick. Thank you very much. But he is a top 10 pick. So the top 10 pick carries a lot of weight. Tate landed great. He actually has a quarterback that's ascending, and so I'm not worried about Tate. I'm concerned about Tyson, but it is a top 10 capital, and I'm riding that. Everyone past Jordan Tyson
The day two, dude. Here's the thing:
is at risk of not producing much and losing value from 2026 to 2027.
Matt, the over under on day 2 wide receivers tomorrow. Let me ask you: do you think the over or under on 12.5?
There's a lot of them.
I think there are
There's a lot of good ones.
I think there are 18 wide receivers that are round 1, round 2, round 3 wide.
Trey Lance's brother,
who is right at the very tail end of it, but he is involved in this.
Trey, Jacoby Lane,
Bryce Lance,
Lance. There's some
Ted Hurst.
There's some nice players. Ted Hurst. There's a lot, but 12 and a half. 12 and a half.
I have the over under right now set
Chris Bell?
tomorrow. Tomorrow. I have the over under set for tomorrow. 12 and a half wide receivers. And Cody right now is saying over.
I think it's going to be over, and you're going to get some landing spots. You're going to get some receivers that are going
who are good,
be paired with good.
Who are going to be good?
You got receivers going to Los Angeles. You're going to have receivers going to the Rams and the Chargers. You're going to have a receiver going to Seattle.
San Fran.
You're going to have receivers going to San Francisco with Brock Purdy. You're going to have receivers going and getting paired with good quarterbacks and good offenses. And then you're going to look at the first round and see all these guys on the Saints and the Jets. And you're going to be, what are we doing?
But this is why right now, if you don't have a top 5 pick in this rookie draft, you're screwed, right? Because I mean, a lot of it's right now, at least where it stands, like
in superflex.
It's very gray right now with the rest. And the truth is, we're going to get a lot of the rest of the receivers that are going to get day 2 capital, but they're not as good of prospects, but they're going to get the good landing spots.
The only guy that could conceivably move up after this draft is Concepcion, and that has nothing to do with quarterback play. It's all about target vacancy.
Yeah. Well, okay, so we're here now, right? We're at pick 32. Seattle takes Jardarian Price. So
what?
We know that is what just happened. Okay, so Seattle takes Jardarian Price. Now, I need to know right here on the spot, Jardarian Price with the landing spots that we have gotten. Okay,
oh my,
he's ahead of Omar Cooper. Is he a top 6 guy now? Top 7 guy?
But a bunch of people had that. A bunch of people had that in the mock draft contest. I didn't have Jadarian Price in the first round. Oh, this is burying me.
Yo, that's Jadarian Price in Dynasty probably is now like 105 or
that's what I'm saying.
Yep, 1516 right there.
Well, do the math. KC, Conception, or Price?
Oh no, your Concepcion's ahead of Price.
Concepcion,
okay.
Yes.
Lemon.
Price.
105.
I'd still take Lemon.
No. I think. Listen, it's strange because Jalen Hurts is an MVP quarterback, Super Bowl MVP. Jalen, and there is a receiver that actually did. In my head, I didn't have Jalen Hurts as a good quarterback because he's not one of the best throwers of footballs, and the team is frustrated with him. Seattle coming off a Super Bowl, got their Clyde Edwards-Helaire in Jadarian Price. So congratulations to them. They got their Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I am not falling for that banana in the tailpipe with Mekhi Lemon. Mekhi Lemon is a player that I actually think that year 2, he is going to have a pretty significant breakout, and he's going to help your fantasy team in year 2 more than Jadarian Price ever will in Seattle. So I'm going to stay patient with him. I'm going to stick with the profile, and it's a super versatile, dynamic profile from Mekhi Lemon. I'm sticking with Lemon over Jadarian Price in the rankings, but Jadarian Price,
he's gonna shoot up.
I mean, player 6, player 7, player 8. That's the That's the zone he's in, depending if it's super flex. If he's super flex, he's in the back half still. Player 7, player 8, player 9. We don't know. There could be a handful of receivers that land incredibly well that we like.
Bump him
in day 2 so that he could get bumped. But he's a first rounder, clearly. And I think you'll see some people, because he's going to Seattle and Charbonnet is not going to be ready. Charbonnet's headed to the pup. And he's a running back. That offensive line is incredible.
How valuable is that running back position, Matt?
There's
that
gonna
backfield.
You will see him go as early as what's the ceiling for him? What's the highest he goes? Rookie dress, we're talking 104. You could see him go 104. Yeah. No, he will. I'm saying he
The
will.
market will. The
Just like
delusional standpoint,
The market.
no, it's not delusional. I'm telling you.
10% of the time
No,
he'll go that.
I am telling you, you are going to see some drafts where Concepcion goes ahead of Jordan Tyson.
We thought you were saying price.
No, I'm just saying there are scenarios, there are drafts you're going to be in. We're going to be in drafts. I'm in a lot of drafts where we're going to see Concepcion going, and it's not correct. I wouldn't do it. It's not going to be that way in the player profiler rankings. Code is draft to get $50 off to the all-in package, but you're going to see it. Just like with this landing spot, because it's technically first round capital, you're going to see price get moved up to 104 in single quarterback. You're going to see him go 104 and 105 in superflex. That's a thing that's going to happen. I wouldn't do it, but it's going to happen.
How do you think of, you said Clyde Edwards, hilarious. What about Miles Sanders after Saquon Barkley? Do you think that's a little bit more of an appropriate comp for Jadarian Price?
Well, that's the comp on playerprofiler.com.
Well, there you have it. So how would you judge just a year of getting that Seattle backfield if he's got at least the first half of the season, Jadarian Price? Where would you want to draft him in redraft?
The football guys that I've talked to unanimously said Jadarian Price is not an all-purpose back. He's not a primary back in the NFL. That he is a rotational back. That's what he is. However, it is interesting. These are football guys. And there's also some pretty damn good football guys in Seattle. And they've made some pretty damn good moves the last couple of years. Yep. And those same football guys like Jadarian Price. And there are plenty of scenarios, especially early in the season for a rookie, which is rare, right? Usually it's later in the season, but early in the season, you'd be the best before Charbonnet returns, where he could really flash. And then that could be yet more egg on the face of one Matty Kiwoom. So, because I know Matty Kiwoom hates Jadarian Price. And so now Matty Kiwoom is he's preparing himself. He's bracing himself. I don't know who finished last. Thank God I didn't. A bunch of these picks came in at the end. Guys like Woods came in and got drafted in the first round and helped me. So I banked some picks. Thank God. Just enough to survive. Maddie's last. The punishment, just so that the big reveal. You stayed around. We've had close to 2,000 concurrent viewers for the stream, and I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Everyone at Roster Watch, everyone at Player Profiler for tuning in. This has been a fantastic experience. Thank everyone just for contributing. Guys like Alex Dunlap. I mean, it's just been amazing. This stream, again, is dedicated to one Memphis Young. I really wish he was here because he's just a fantastic human, and I miss him. And the punishment for Matty Kiwoom for finishing shamefully last in the Huddle Report contest is to go down our slide. We have a pool here at the Draft House, and there is a slide there's a wet slide. There's constantly water running down that slide. It's a slippery slide. So he's going to get fully naked, and he's going to go down the slippery slide, and we're going to film it. And we're going to
more of a punishment to us.
And we're going to pixelate it, though it's going to be one of the easier things to pixelate. Maybe just need one pixel.
That's my joke. Can't steal my joke. All right. Why don't we kick it to Maddie and Cody to wrap us up for the rest of the night, and then we'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right. Well, I don't know if you're really going to do that.
0% chance.
0% chance?
0% chance. I have 3 children. I'm not doing that. I will do a punishment. You agreed. No, you agreed, Matt Kelly.
This is facts. I think you do have a lot of witnesses here that there was an idea thrown out there among many.
Yeah.
And it was never agreed upon nor signed or agreed to. But yeah, 32 picks in the bag, 8 trades.
A lot of trades.
The question was asked early in the week. How many trades? 3.5, 4.5. Over. Everyone said over. And then this morning, everyone's like, over 4.5 might be a low number.
Right.
And 8 ended up being the number. 5 of the last 6 picks ended up being moves. Seattle didn't move. They go Jadarian Price. San Francisco will open up the day for us on Friday. An hour earlier, we'll be right here in this house. Same setup. Hopefully the microphones are as they were the last hour. And we're going to get the Niners. And we're going to talk all things ball. And we're going to have, as Alex said, over under 12.5 wide receivers go tomorrow.
Should be a lot.
What are you taking? Over under 12.5.
Under. I'm taking the under.
I think it's 16.
10.
I think it's 16.
It's 10.
I think it's 16. I was going to say something.
You're taking the under on 12.5?
I'm taking the under.
He's dumb. That's okay. You can be dumb, but that's fine.
Have you looked at the board?
Someone who's not dumb is our man Theo Gremma.
Big shout out
I'm going
to
to give Theo a shout out. He won the huddle report. 48 points. He beat Lance Zierlein by 1. Beat me by 5 points total. 48 to 43.
The lowest total for a win in a long time. But it goes to show it was a tough draft, right, to navigate.
10 matches, 28 players in the round. The most players that anybody had in round 1 was 29, and that was Lance. Lance had 29 players. A couple others had 29 players, including Daniel Jeremiah. I did win the house this year. I lost last year to Matt. I had to get my revenge. Next year, you can get your revenge.
No, this is my last time ever doing this.
No, come on.
Ever. I'm quitting.
You can't say that. Alex, the last time we saw a Super Bowl winning team take a running back, the last pick in round 1, Alex was put in that corner chair because Clyde Edwards-Helaire took the championship away from him.
I'm taking off the boots. I'm done
Took the
with
championship away from him. But the Niners will be the first team picking tomorrow, pick 33 overall. Best available players on the board right now, if you look at your top 100. Jermod McCoy, Tennessee's cornerback. He's got that injury. Ran the pro day. Just interesting last month. TJ Parker, the edge from Clemson. Emmanuel McNeil Warren from Toledo. Ant Hill from Texas. Zion Young from Missouri. And then, of course, Denzel Boston from Washington. What's your biggest takeaway here from round 1?
My biggest takeaway was, the trades were high, a lot of trades. What we did not see was really much draft capital traded from 2027.
None.
So my takeaway here was I always assume that the trades might be on the lower side because no one wants to give away any DC from 27.
Yeah.
Well, what ended up happening is the end of round 1 where you can move up and maneuver around without moving future picks in the following year ended up being kind of the catalyst for a lot of trades. But yeah, 27 picks were good. No one moved them. And at the end of the day, what I did take away from this, if you're an injured cornerback, you ain't going to round 1. It was Will Johnson last year, Jermod McCoy this year.
And we had the run of the offensive line. We talked about the run. It started out, of course, with Spencer Fano at pick 9, Maui Noah pick 10, Caden Proctor at 12. You want a guard. You got one at 14 for the Baltimore Ravens. Blake Miller was the 5th offensive lineman to the Detroit Lions. Then we had a run on Monroe Freeling, Maxie Honachor, Keelan Rutledge, Caleb Lomu. 9 offensive linemen go in round 1. That's kind of my biggest takeaways. We heard the number was going to be high. It might push towards double digits. We didn't quite get there. We got 9.
Yep.
But again, that is why you see a wide receiver like Denzel Boston fall into round 2. We didn't get the Carson Beck stuff, so the Kelce money was bad chalk.
It was bad chalk.
Wasn't there.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's all, man. 32 picks in 3 hours and 45 minutes. We appreciate each and every one of you guys taking the time to hang out with us. We'll be back tomorrow night for pick 33 to pick 100, the beautiful 100. Tomorrow night, we're going to be on Huddle Report, Big Board Watch. Report, Big Board Watch. That's the competition that Todd McShay generally is in first or second in, and he has the 5-year record, and I'm coming for him. I'm trying to win that thing.
Let's go,
so,
baby.
We'll be back tomorrow night, 1 hour earlier, around that 6:45, I would say 6:45 Eastern time, 7 o'clock Eastern time when the draft kicks off. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. On behalf of Player Profiler and Roster Watch Nation, we'll see you tomorrow night.
Peace.
You know, it's important to me that all of our media be free, but it is you, the premium subscriber, with access to data analysis, the rankings, Dynasty Deluxe, DFS Dominator, the world famous draft kit. You get that content and you make all of this possible. The free podcasts, articles, NFL draft content. So I must give a special thanks to all of our premium subscribers. You make all of this possible.